Are we panicking on Tony Pollard, Debo Samuel, and Jamison Williams? Now, you guys know the deal. Panic chamber doesn't necessarily mean we're closing the doors on said player. Panic chamber materials sometimes are players that are being talked about with a sense of panic, but we're here to shoot it down. So don't just think because these three gentlemen are on the panic chamber docket, that doesn't mean I'm shutting the door. We're going to talk about why the panic may actually make these guys valuable or have good ADPs, and the panic might be worth taking on. The panic chamber, as well as maybe a live draft, a live underdog draft we might do at the end, begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
You are entering the Panic Chamber, brought to you by Grindhouse. Vintage movie tees and hoodies. You are entering the Panic Chamber, brought to you by
Grindhouse. Grindhouse apparel is where it's at, guys. This is what you need to get. Okay, you need to go to grndhaus.com. Link is in the description of every video. The link is in the description of this video. So jump on over to Grindhouse and get yourself an amazing hoodie. Hoodies, t-shirts, they do it all. And it's all movie 40 years ago. You know, movies from 40 years ago. Vintage movie tee straight from the attic. Look at this. Look at this stuff. I'm wearing a Reptilicus right now. There's all kinds of Spider, Beast, King Kong versus Godzilla. Movie poster t-shirts. What's better than apparel and movies all at the same time? So they sponsor every single episode of the Panic Chamber. They did last year. They're doing it again this year, and they're also sponsoring every single night stream, graveyard, midnight stream that we do here on the channel. So hats off to Grindhouse. Link is in the description. Let's get on over to the Panic Chamber players for this particular episode. Now, the first name we're going to throw out, the first player we're going to throw out is, let's talk about Tony Pollard. Let's talk about Tony Pollard. Let's put him in the Panic Chamber here. And let's talk about Tony Pollard from a negative and positive perspective, and then come to a determination whether he belongs in the panic chamber or are people freaking out about Tony Pollard without needing to. He's been climbing up quite a bit in ADP, so that it's a rare player to talk about when a player is climbing up ADP. He's been climbing from the third round into the second round. But there's still a lot of concern about, what's the offense going to look like under the command of McCarthy instead of having more calling plays, it being very, very high octane pass attack, which will open up the run. Some might say running the damn ball is what McCarthy said. I want to run the damn ball. Some say it's going to dial back the pass a lot and maybe offer more running opportunities for this ground game, which is good on its face. But a lot of people do have some concerns about whether he can take on the full workload. Is his injury behind him? Is he still going to have issues with the leg? Will the team bring in a cut Dalvin Cook? Maybe Dalvin Cook gets released, or he will get released on June 1, and maybe he heads on over to Dallas. There are a lot of reasons to be a little bit concerned about Tony Pollard, for sure. For sure. File on in, hit that thumb up button on the way in the door. Appreciate you. Nathan first in the building. Smokey the Cat, Detest, Jarrett, Overcome, Space, Ricky, very blessed indeed. Appreciate you. I got one question here I want to play from Adam real quick from the Instagram group. And if you guys want to be Instagram leaving message people every single day on the channel, get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com on Instagram. Click that subscribe button for $4.99. You can leave Instagram voicemails. This one's from Adam. And during the season, these are going to be every single day. So if you want to be a part of the voicemail leaving group, Adam, you here?
Question for you. Whose ADP do you think will rise, and who do you think ADP will fall once the casual drafters start drafting?
So great question, and that's why I left it for this show, because Tony Pollard is kind of related to this topic. Tony Pollard is climbing climbing. There he is right there. Tony Pollard is climbing on ADP ranks, and Tony Pollard is a potential league winner in that I think he could be a top 5 to 7 running back. Do I have my concerns, though? Like, do my concerns mirror some of the concerns that are out there about this offense changing? Because just because they want to run more doesn't mean they'll be successful doing it. If they want to run the damn ball and the play calling's shifting over to McCarthy, who we all kind of don't trust. We trust Moore. Moore was scoring. Moore's offense was phenomenal. It was high octane. It was always top 5 in the National Football League. So now we wonder, what's the offense going to look like? Will it move the football down the field? Will they be in that's right, very blessed. I'm sorry, I see you. I knew I saw you in here. And then I always forget your guys' names outside of your YouTube channels and YouTube handles. So I figured that was you. That's what triggered me to go listen to the message. Appreciate you leaving that earlier, by the way. I think his ADP climb is warranted. I think his ADP climb into the bottom of round 2 is warranted. I don't want you taking him any higher than the turn, like the 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Nothing in the teens. Not that I don't think he could deliver, but there's still a lot of unknowns right now. The unknown with the offense, the unknown with the play calling, the unknown with, we think his injury's fine. I'm not concerned about that. The unknown about whether Dalvin Cook comes in. The unknown whether they bring in a Kareem Hunt or even do something, drastically different than we expect. There are enough unknowns that I don't want anybody taking him earlier than 20. I think that's a good spot to grab him. I think the risk is baked in to that value, in my opinion. I think it is. And I think any higher, then you have to account for more risk, and I don't like that. So I'm not putting him in the panic chamber. I am not going to close the door on Mr. Tony Pollard. I think Tony Pollard is, where's my he is safe section? I have that somewhere. I thought I had it somewhere. He's safe, so we're going to put him over in the safe zone right here. He's not somebody that I'm going to close the panic chamber door on. I could understand why somebody might, and there's a lot. It's so weird that so much negativity is being talked about that situation, yet his ADP is rising. It's one of those really weird things. Normally a guy's ADP falls, and he falls into the panic chamber. Like he's falling, people are concerned. But he's got a lot of there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of change coming into that Dallas situation. So I'm very, very, very concerned. I am. But very much worth the risk in at least 1 or 2 of your leagues. I would not put all your eggs in one basket when it comes to Tony Pollard just because of the situation. It has nothing to do with him. The other thing I wanted to bring up with Tony Pollard is Dynasty is very different than redraft. His redraft ADP is what we're talking about here. What's up, Sam? What's going on, Hod? His Dynasty ADP is very much more of a concern because he doesn't have a long-term contract and he has to ball out this year, not get hurt, escape 2023 of all those things, the negative things, and walk into 2024 getting a big fat contract so that he has a starting job guaranteed. Right now, Tony Pollard has no guarantees for 2023 or 2024 and beyond. He has no guarantees because he only has a franchise tag salary that if he doesn't ball out, if he gets injured, he's not getting a starting job anywhere. Like, I don't even think they bring him back to Dallas if, let's say, he gets injured, doesn't play, plays less than half a season, isn't effective. He's gone. He's gone, and he probably won't have a starting job anywhere. So, Dynasty, there's a lot more risk involved in Tony Pollard. Now, at the same time, he could ball out like we expect him to, get a big fat payday, get a new, starting gig somewhere, and find himself in Dynasty circles as a top, 10 overall pick in 2024. It's certainly possible, and he's explosive enough to be a top 10 running back. He truly is top 5 to 10 running back. Wouldn't shock me in the slightest if he was in the top 6 to 10, top 5 to 10 for RBs, meaning he could be RB6, he could be RB5, he could be RB8, he could be RB10. He could dance in that range all year long and finish 10. And if we look at Tony Pollard's numbers, let's see, Tony Pollard, this is his game log, and this is Tony Pollard's season stats. So if we look at his season stats, guy had 1,000 yards, almost on the nose, 193 rushing attempts, 5.2 a pop, which is phenomenal. 9 touchdowns on the ground, 55 targets for 39 receptions, 371 receiving, and then one 100-yard receiving game with 3 touchdowns. A total of 12 touchdowns for Tony Pollard, roughly 40 receptions, and a total of just over 1,370 total yards. That is a phenomenal season. If anybody doesn't, realize how good of a year that was considering his situation, I think people are missing the boat here. Even though his ADP's climbing, I think people don't realize that he can explode from 20 overall value if he gets all the work. Not all the work, if he gets starter work. We don't want him getting much more than 225 to 240 carries. 225 to 230 would be a sweet spot for me. Then that gives him, let's calculate it out. So let's say he gets 225 carries. We'll call it 5 times 5.3. I think he could easily average more yards per carry over that amount. Let's call that 1190. So 1190 in terms of rushing yards. We'll give him 50 receptions. Easily could do 11 more receptions. 50 receptions. Let's call it the 9.5 yards per catch, and that gives him 475. 475 plus the 1190 was it? That is 1665. He is a 1,600 total yard player. Those total touchdowns could easily be done again in 2023, given the amount of exposure he's going to get to all facets of the offense now. Even if they bring somebody in. Now, they bring in Dalvin Cook, we'll reassess, but this is a phenomenal stat line for last year. I can't imagine him doing less than that. And if you look at, as long as he's healthy, you look at his game log, he really did drop off in the final weeks. Some tough matchups: San Francisco, Tampa Bay, Philly, Washington, Jacksonville. So you see he didn't score a single touchdown from the Jacksonville game on. Okay, so 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. So from week 14 on, really kind of left a sour taste in people's mouths because he only did some decent work in the receiving game, had no touchdowns in that entire span of games, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game stretch at the very, very end. Not a single touchdown, and not even close to a 100-yard game. So this was a bad stretch for him. This is a really bad stretch for him. Even though he did have the 19 carries for 75 yards, he didn't have any good yard per carry except for this 15 carries for 77 yards against Tampa Bay, 5.1 a pop. It was a bad little run, a bad little stretch. But if you look at the rest of his season, he was so on the money. I mean, it was just that stretch. And Zeke was getting a lot of work. Pollard was banged up at times. There's a lot of reasons to say, hey, guess what? Pollard's going to come in and just be an absolute monster. Okay, so let's move on to the next player. Tony Pollard is safe. Not worried about Tony Pollard. He is not going to be in the panic chamber. The next player we want to talk about would be this man, Debo Samuel, who there's a lot of reasons to be worried about Debo Samuel. Debo Samuel, to me, is somebody that, somebody that I have concerns about. For majority of my concerns stem from the team and the usage. Like Debo, we know Debo's an elite player whenever he's on the field. Problem is, with the situation at quarterback, his usage has been very sporadic. And if you look at Debo's game log here from last year, you'll see that he has 2 100-yard games. He has a stretch of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 games, no touchdowns between that Carolina game, that 1, 2, 3, 4, week 5, so week 6 on, and through the bye week. Just a very, very bad patch of receiving stats from that 20-yard game against, let me get my little highlighter thing here. Hold on. Okay. Here we go. Sick Nasty dropping a $2 hauler. Draft call has been locked in, Smitty. Appreciate you ordering a draft call. If anybody wants to order a draft call, get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com and order yourself a draft call like Sick Nasty did, and I'll draft with you for the entire hour. So get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com. All right, let's open up this panic chamber one more time. There's Debo. He's still there. Thank you, Sick Nasty. Appreciate you. Any other super chats? Let me just take a glance real quick. Any super chats will get handled right away. When we look at Debo's 24 yards, 57, 43, 58, 43, 20. This is a really, really, really bad stretch. Now, he had 2 rushing touchdowns here, so that did salvage those games. But it was if he didn't have those scores, and it wasn't like he was getting massive rushing volume. It was, 3, 2, 4. It wasn't like he was getting like 7 or 10 carries like in his previous season when he was running the ball like a madman, like a running back. Deebo is just very efficient player. But if he's not getting the right touches, 6 yards, 2 yards, 12 yards, 11 yards, 2 yards, 27 yards, but all with 0 touchdowns right there. When he's not getting this work, he has to get this work. And the problem is when Purdy's in there, it seems to be like even with Purdy in this game, he didn't seem to be like overutilized. It wasn't like he was run a lot more. He had some decent games here, 37, 27, 22, and 32. I mean, those are really decent stats to just throw into a wide receiver stat line. And the 2 touchdowns did not hurt. But during this stretch right here, Deebo only had 1 super productive receiving game. He had 133 yards and a touchdown. The rest of this was really bad. It was really, really bad. I feel like, let's see here. I feel like it's easy to be like, okay, well, I like Deebo, but where am I going to grab this guy to make myself feel comfortable? Where's a good cost of entry? Where's a good return on investment? I would say 4th round's acceptable to me. I don't think I call him as a bust candidate or a total avoid in the 4th round. But if you have to draft him in the 3rd round, I would be skeptical. But if you can grab him as your 4th drafted player, I don't know that I'm hitting the panic chamber on him. I don't think I'm gonna close the door on him because his ADP is dropping and dropping and dropping. So Ada, to answer your question, here's another player that continues to drop an ADP. I think that 4th round value is pretty acceptable. And I think if he climbs into the 3rd round, like handsomely in the 3rd round, like 3.4, 3.5, like never going to fall to 4.1, I'm avoiding him. He will be in the panic chamber. I will be hitting the button at that point. But for right now, at 4th round cost of entry, not all that concerned about Debo Samuel. I'm drafting him on occasion, not in a lot of drafts. I do not want to tie myself to this potentially ever-changing quarterback situation, but I certainly think that 4th round value is acceptable. I don't think I'm gonna close the door. Collusion says, Smitty, close that door. Can't do it, Collusion, on 4th round value. I could do it if he climbs in the 3rd. I could. Okay, so that is 2 players in a row that I think are panic chamber material to at least discuss, but at their ADPs, I'm not concerned at all. Pollard's ADP is climbing, but his upside is still so massive. He could literally be a top 5 to 10 running back, and I'm super excited about Pollard. This next guy, Jamison Williams, we might not close the panic chamber on anybody during this entire episode here. We got 3 players we're talking about. I like Jamison Williams. I think Jamison Williams is a player that... Here's the problem. Here's the problem with Jamo. And if we pull up Jamo's career stats, in the NFL so far, and his game log, it's the same thing because he had 1 catch. Like, I don't think people realize this. I don't think people realize he had 1 catch. 1 catch. He played 6 games. I know some people think he didn't play a lot. He played 6 games. He was targeted 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 1. Jameson Williams has had 1 catch in his football debut through 6 games last year. That is kind of surprising. It feels like, okay, he had that great touchdown catch. It was a 41-yard touchdown catch against the Minnesota Vikings. It was phenomenal. People thought, okay, he's here to stay. But this is kind of crazy when you look at it. We're all judging him, including me. I'm taking him in like the 8th and 9th round and with a smile, going, oh my God, he's going to come back and do well. But, I mean, I don't know. This might be a situation where I've been drafting him in the last couple best balls and feeling pretty good about it until I dug into it right now. And I started to realize that this guy he's caught 1 football. He's caught 1 football at the pro level. and people were ready to anoint him the number 1 wide receiver over St. Brown. St. Brown's not going to let go of that number 1 job. I personally think that he's more bust than he is anything else. I think maybe I do hit the button here, because if you're drafting this guy anything less than your 4th wide receiver, meaning you're drafting him as your eventual potential wide receiver 3 or somebody that can compete with the wide receiver 3 you draft. But if you're drafting him as your 3rd wide receiver and then you're coming around as your 4th wide receiver, grabbing somebody to fill in until Jameson gets back, I don't know that Jameson is going to earn you what you think he's going to earn you. I like him. He's got a lot of upside, but this man has 1 catch in the National Football League. He has 9 targets, 1 catch, 6 played games. There's a lot to be concerned about if you're having to take this guy anywhere near your 3rd wide receiver. Flyer, yes. Wide receiver 3, no. And it kind of feels like you got to take him there right now. If he falls, I'll like him. If not, we'll close the door on it. And that's not to say I don't like Jamison Williams in some context. It doesn't mean that even tonight I could draft him. But we're certainly, the panic is setting in. The panic is setting in because the man has only caught 1 football and is coming back from an injury that did not, an ACL tear, that did not let him get back on the field at any sort of, efficient level at all last year. There was thought that he could come in around week 10, week 9 and do some good things, and he came back and scored a touchdown. But literally the last 6 games were not as impressive as we want to remember. So if he's a faller, an ADP faller, to Adam's question, I'll be on board. But I don't know that I like JMO at that cost. Let's get to, so that was just a short little Panic Chamber episode. I just wanted to touch on those 3 guys. Phone lines are open. Dial into the show.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
And now let's get into a live draft on Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Smitty into a puppy 2. Let me go ahead and get plugged in. Actually, maybe we do it from the full view. Let's go to the draft this way. Okay, here we go. Let's get into this puppy. And let me go to drafts. We're going to click on Poodle 2. Let me drop the link in the live chat so everybody can get in. This is the Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Here's the link. At Underdog Fantasy, they'll match up to $100 on your first deposit. So make your first deposit wisely, because if you deposit $100, they'll match up to $100 dollar for dollar if you're new to Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. So if you go ahead and let me just pin this real quick. There we go. Link has been pinned. We're going to click on, let me click out of this real quick. We're going to click on the Poodle 2, which is $300K in prizes. This right here, if I scroll down, you'll see first place is $60,000. Second place is $30,000. It's 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 flex, 10 bench spots, just like the other drafts we've been doing. This is a 30-second per pick draft, 0.5 PPR. Hit enter right now. $7 per entry, and we will jump into this draft. God, did it fill? I think it filled already. It filled already. These things go quick. Let's go. Oh, hold on. Let me go back to the screen here. Okay, so here we are. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Draft is filled. I'll get my drafts. Oh no, waiting on 1 person. I'm sorry. We were able to get 1 more person in there. I thought it was already full, but it wasn't. You guys were filing in. There we go. Now it's full. My bad. So it looks like we got George from the Bay in here. We've got Wayne Solo. I recognize a few of you, so you guys did get in. I don't know some of these names, so some of them there's some randoms in here. Looks like your boy got the 1 overall. I haven't got the 1 overall, I think, yet, and I've done a handful of these puppy 2s so far, so I haven't got the 1 overall in the new puppy 2s. Draft begins in 27 seconds. I'm going to take Jamar Chase per usual. In the draft with you. Damn, you got the first spot. Yeah, I'm excited about that. Appreciate you coming into the building here. Mom, we got your back. Gibbs have more receptions than J-Mo this year? Absolutely. I mean, J-Mo's not playing a full year. So that's an easy call. Okay, on the clock here, Jamar Chase. We're going to do it live. Jamar Chase is my pick. There we go. Tune is on the clock. Let's go to the board view. It's a little bit nicer view, I think. So we'll go ahead and do that. Can you see that? Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty clear. So Justin Jefferson goes 2. I took Jamar Chase number 1. Number 3 overall pick is on the clock here. Tyreek Hill, 3 straight wide receivers. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty will get you into these drafts. They'll match up to $100 in your first deposit. So click that link in the live chat. I pinned it. It's also in the description of every video, including this one. So if you want to get into the next draft, the next time we do it, you just got to be signed up in time. So do it now. Don't wait till later to sign up. M. Hall is Russian Collusion. Attaboy. M. Hall is in here. I knew I recognized Russian Collusion somewhere in there. Okay, 1.1. Yeah, Jamar Chase is mine. Bijan going number 5 overall to Wayne Solo. Who's Wayne Solo in here? Would you probably take Chase at 1 as well? With that being said, I would probably take Chase as 1 as well. Get JJ, you won't regret it. Sam, I can't. I definitely switch it off. I don't always go Jamar, but usually I do. I love both of them. You can't argue either one. One is better than the other. They're both very arguable. Christian McCaffrey, number 6. Stephon Diggs, number 7. Travis Kelce, number 8. A.J. Brown, number 9. CMC falling to 6 is kind of a nice value. What's up, Wayne Solo? Wayne Solo in the building. Wayne Solo, you've been here before. Did you find us through this draft? I'm curious. I feel like I've seen you before. Okay, the Poodle is the best advance rate for prizes. Price point at $7. Yeah, I agree. Garrett Wilson going to Collusion at number 10. A.J. Brown went number 9. Travis Kelce went number 8. Stephon Diggs went number 7. Chris McCaffrey fell all the way to 6. Bijan went 5. Cooper went 4. Tyreek Hill went 3. Jefferson went 2. And your boy, Smitty, I took Jamar Chase. I ain't in there, but good luck, everyone. Thank you, Detest. I've called him before. Yeah, I felt like I remember you do Wayne Solo. I'm sorry. Wide receivers are overvalued on Underdog. It's only 0.5. I agree. Given that you have to start 3 wide receivers, it makes everybody, rush to the wide receiver position. But I'm with you. I tend to draft a lot of my sleeper wide receivers. Steven Ferguson said, I tried to get in, don't know how. All you got to do is click on that puppy card on the carousel thing and select it. When we select it, we jump right in. Pretty simple, my guy. One of the cards dropping, probably, I would say he's talking about these right here. These, talking about the Mars Men and the Moon Men cards. These are aluminum cards. You can hear they're aluminum. They're nice, man. But it's got the YouTube channel, and on the front the Mars Men. We got a little special club that we're gonna be revealing soon, so look for it. It's coming soon. Probably next week, I think. Let's see here. Adams and Eckler, Mahomes and Lamb. Collusion from the 10 spot has Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson. Phillies got A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. Sports has Kelsey and JT. George from the Bay's got Diggs and who? I like Chase over JJ selection. Thank you. Smitty. It's a poodle, just so you don't confuse people. Did I say, what did I say, puppy? I thought I've been saying poodle. Josh Allen, Yeah, Moonman Club is coming. Only 11 of these bad boys are going to be given out. Or I do 12 and I make it a 13-man league total point race or something like that, but we'll see. Probably be just 11. Then there may be, and we're not going to continue and make more and more and more. There will be 2 leagues, potentially 2 clubs only, a Moonman and a Marsman club. So hang tight on that. Hang tight. Details are coming. Quentin Johnston this year, the test. He's got a lot of talent. I just got to see it, all come together. I keep saying puppy. I'm sorry. It's a poodle. I apologize. You can't find a puppy anyway. I'm sorry. Poodle. Poodle draft. It's his second card. Double A says, will those cards let me skip the lines at the airports? No. But that's a good little benefit. I need to see if I can get tossed into that. Okay, I'm almost on the clock, so I'm going to close the big board view and get into queuing up some players. I've got Jamar Chase already, feeling pretty good about that. I've got I'm on the clock. Problem is Burrow's ADP is a lot later than this, but part of me wants to stack that. I'll probably go Breece Hall here. So now I've got Breece Hall and Jamar Chase on the right side. You can see that. Let's see what I can do here. Do I go Gibbs early? I guess I'll go Gibbs early. I don't hate Gibbs. I'm going to reach. I am the reacher. I reached. But Gibbs is like the 4th running back down. So it's not like 4th or 5th. Was he the 4th or 5th running back down? It's not like you're reaching that far. It was either that or you guys are such reachers yourselves. It puts everybody in reach mode. But I love my trio. We get started on a reachathon, and then before you know it, we're all reaching. There's no way Gibbs or Burrow was coming back. Yeah, I don't need the stack. Free drafts or buy-ins. I mean, this is underdog fantasy. Yeah, I am kind of funny, Brian. Sometimes look, 3rd drafted player, Gibbs, I'm fine with it. I try and promote you guys to wait when you can. Underdog, you can't really, but. Buy-ins, Noah, these are underdog fantasy drafts, my guy. T. Higgins, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. Travis Kelce, Jonathan Taylor, and now the number 8 overall pick is on the clock. I love my trio, though. I mean, Chase, Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs. It's fantastic. I just didn't want to draft Henry or Devontae Smith or Ramondre. Normally I have more options, but you guys are on the money. Any league for people in states that can't gamble? That's what this. I mean, this is going to be a high roller thing, but the Marsmen Club will be a draft we do on probably sleeper. It'll be a actual league, but it will be more than just a league. This will get you into the league. This isn't actually for the league. This will get you into the league. This will get you a spot in the league. The league will be live streamed every year. A redraft league of the 11, or the 12. We'll call them the Moonmen, the Marsmen 12, the Marsmen 12. Listen to that card hit the table. It sounds like beauty. Listen, just a metal Marsmen card. Just sound of glory, sound of glory. But that's it. I mean, We'll probably have some more stuff in August. So hang tight, Thomas. Hang tight, my boy Thomas. How much for the High Roller League? You'll see, Vampy. I'm putting it all together. It's going to come with a lot of stuff, though. It's not just get in the league. It's going to be some of you might already have the lifetime memberships to the Fantasy Football Show, but there'll be a lifetime membership to the Fantasy Football Show. .com. If you already have that, you can get it. You can exchange it for a draft call. So I'll sit on the phone with you for a whole hour and draft with you. It'll include immediate access to the phone line, no matter what's going on. They'll answer your call above all other calls. So you get immediate, phone line access and jump the line whenever you call in. It'll come with some other stuff. So hang tight. It'll be an exclusive Marsmen club, and it'll carry over from year to year. Just one time situation gets you a lifetime. Burrow and Mahomes bold strategy. Yeah. Super Rudy, you're on the phone line. What's up? You're live. Hello? Super Rudy? Hello? Rudy?
Hello?
It's up.
Is anybody home?
Yes, we're trying to answer.
Fire.
Hold on, let me get my music down. We're trying to answer your call. What's up, guy?
Oh, what's going on? No, I saw the notification that you were on pretty late, and I'm still up from work, so wanted to call in and get a review on this trade I did, because I just find myself getting rid of my JMO shares, and I'm not sure that's the smartest thing to do, but I guess I'll get your opinion on it.
Yeah, let me real quickly. Let me just draft this selection real quick. I'm coming up on the clock, and I don't want to time out, so give me 1 second. And then we'll
I like your team so far.
Yeah, I like it as well. I took Gibbs a little early, but I mean, looking down this list, what am I supposed to do? Grab someone I don't like. So I went ahead and go ahead.
Oh no, I like Gibbs. I'm thinking about taking him around where you take Brees, maybe in the third instead of the second, but.
Yeah, we'll see what I can cook up here. So I'm on deck here. Hawkinson just went to Tune. I think I'm going to take Kenneth Walker here, and my next pick is either going to be T-Law, or let's check out the wide receivers. The wide receivers have gotten awfully thin, awfully quick. So I think I'm probably going to go T-Law here, which is a tad early. His ADP is 61, and we're at, see, this is tough. Problem when you're at this one spot, you have to do some reaching. But this squad's pretty killer. Trevor Lawrence, Brees Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Jamar Chase. I mean, how can anybody complain about reaching when you have a squad like that? That's a very, very strong squad. T-Law, Brees Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Jamar Chase. Plus, the quarterbacks have flown off the board a little quicker than normal. We have somebody down on the end. I forget who it was that drafted two of the elite top 5 quarterbacks. So quarterbacks are going to dry up quick. Herbert just went, as you can see. So these quarterbacks will dry up quick. It was the 11 slot grabbed 2 quarterbacks. So they're going to fly off the board. So I love the squad so far. To be honest, I think it's a killer start. Jamar Chase, Brees Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Trevor Lawrence. All right, hit me with your trade.
Well, I think come late August, early September, I think Herbert could possibly be a steal of the draft for QBs because of the way that a lot of these other QBs are moving up the draft board. I don't know. I feel like if you can get Herbert in the 4th or 5th round of a redraft league, I think that's a big steal. Yeah.
No panic chamber here, says George from the Bay. We did panic chamber already. We did probably the first 30 minutes of the show, or 25 minutes of the show is panic chamber. Wait, hit me with your trade real quick.
All right, so I traded away Kadarius Toney, Jamison Williams, and Cade Otton for Nico Collins, Jordan Addison, and a fourth round 2024.
Hit me with that one more time.
Okay, so J-Mo, Kadarius Toney, and Cade Otton for – I traded those away, and I received Nico Collins, Jordan Addison, and a fourth.
Nico Collins, Jordan Addison, and a fourth. So basically just Jordan Addison.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That depth chart is kind of wide open in Houston, and I saw some like flashes of Nico. I mean, he's had putrid quarterback play. Just kind of took a flyer on him, but I'm really high on Addison, and Kadarius Toney is a huge risk for me. Otton is basically nobody, and J-Mo is just waiting those 6 weeks, and basically hasn't played in 2 years. I don't know. I was okay with getting rid of Toney with J-Mo.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm torn on this one. So Mark must not. Mark, I do like Jamison Williams. I've talked about it. I draft him quite a bit. It's just a matter of where you're getting him. I think people that expect him to be the number one there, or people expect him to be an elite wide receiver one, they got to be careful. Like, I'm not saying I'm out. I made it pretty clear that I like him. I'm interested in Jameson as my fourth wide receiver, but when you have to take him as your third, it gets a little risky. But there's a lot of upside there. The guy had better acceleration than anybody I've seen in a long time come out of college. We'll see if that comes back. I'm sure it will. But his acceleration is unmatched. Like, he can just go from 0 to 60 in a matter of nothing. So, yeah.
Maybe not the best trade I've done, but
no, I would say in general, you can't go wrong with either side. I mean, Addison's going to get a lot of targets. I don't see a path to him becoming the number one wide receiver on his team, so it makes it hard for me to love him. Jameson's probably got a hard path to get the number one, spot from St. Brown, but is it easier to get it from St. Brown than it is from Jefferson? Yeah. So, like, Jameson's got a little bit clearer path to try and become something crazy. I don't know. This one's tough. Toney and Jameson, I would say it's about even, because I like Jameson enough, despite, Mark, I know you took it wrong, I guess, from my panic chamber. I don't mean to make anyone think I don't like him. I just think that if you're counting on him, you don't know what you're getting yet. I like him a lot, but we got to wait and see. I probably would rather have Jameson and Toney, to be honest, because I think Toney could rival Addison all on his own, or he could completely flop. I mean, Toney could completely flop, but at least you got Jameson on top of that. So I'd probably take the Jameson side, but I don't think it's it's horrible.
Understandable.
I don't think it's horrible. I don't think you did anything crazy,
Yeah, I was just like, I don't have a share of Addison yet, and it's a start 2 wide receiver league. I just and we already did our rookie draft. I was able to get Bijan in like a winning team. I'm pretty set.
Yeah, I don't hate the move. I don't hate the.
Wanted to mitigate all the risk I can get off my team with Toney and J-Mo. So that was really why I did it.
I don't hate the move. I don't hate the move. I really don't. I don't think you did bad. Yeah. I just think I probably lean a little bit toward the Jameson side, just a little bit.
Yeah, I understand, but just kind of wanted your input on that.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like over the past 2 weeks, I've gotten rid of 2 of my J-Mo shares, and it might come back to bite me in the ass. But
it might not. We'll it might not. I mean, bro, you got Addison. Addison's going to get a lot of volume, and I don't dislike Addison either. I know a lot of people think I do, just because I don't talk amazingly about him. I like Addison, but Addison's just got a governor on his fantasy value. Like he's got a cap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He can't. Yeah. There's nothing he can do about it. It's not his fault. He landed in a spot where you don't really fully know what the future holds with Kirk Cousins. So in Dynasty, you got to be a little bit worried about that. You also don't know. There's just a lot of things that are at play here. All right, so I'm on the clock. My team so far is Chase, Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Trevor Lawrence. Honestly, looking at the RBs, I'm not super pumped about those options. I'm going to go Waller here right now just because I'm running out of time. Wide receiver, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down is Dotson. I love Dotson more than any of the guys above him. I think he's going to have a breakout season, so I'm going to go Dotson. I'm going to go Dotson, and so here's the squad so far. I'm back to full board view. So yeah, my team on the very far left is as follows. It's Jamar Chase, Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Trevor Lawrence, Darren Waller, Jahan Dotson. Pretty solid in my opinion. I think Dotson can really be something special. I mean, something really special.
As a Washington Commanders fan, I believe it.
Who's that?
Super Rudy. That's Rock Out. Rock Out, 1 second.
Yes,
Super Rudy, I'd rather have Dotson over Addison or Dotson over the Tony and Jameson side. Just putting that out there.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Would you rather have Dotson or JSN?
Dotson or JSN? That's a really good question. Before the draft, Before the draft, I would have said JSN, but JSN's in a pretty cloudy situation with a very mediocre to good. Mediocre to good. I'm giving him some credit. Mediocre to good quarterback situation in Geno. So give me Dotson. I know that's a bold take. I know a lot of people love JSN. But, I mean, goodness gracious, man. This Dotson character is potentially the next Antonio Brown. I truly think he's got that kind of upside. So give me Dotson as my wide receiver 2 all day long if I'm going with this approach that I got going on right here, where I'm literally like ignoring my wide receiver 2 for a little bit. And I'm with whoever said it earlier that people overvalue wide receivers in this best ball a little too much, I think, when it's 0.5 PPR. But because it's 3 wide receiver requirement, I get a lot of value at running back in the middle rounds, and I start attacking wide receiver again later. But give me Dotson as my number 2 wide receiver all day long over Keenan Allen and I like DJ Moore over DJ Moore and Amari Cooper. I'd rather have Dotson in the 7th round, and then that enables me to go get these guys,
All right, Smitty, I'm about to give you a headache real quick.
Okay,
all right?
Sure.
Devontae Smith or Jahan Dotson?
Probably Devontae, but I love both of them. But
yeah, okay.
But
I just wanted to gauge that.
Like Devontae Smith he's one of my boys. I love that guy. And given that I think I worry about AJ Brown's knees, I think Devontae Smith is a wide receiver 1. He already kind of was last year anyway. But I think he plays at an even higher level for a handful of games if AJ Brown misses time. I'm not trying to predict an injury by AJ Brown. I'm not excited about saying that, but AJ Brown's got knee issues that I don't know. I don't know that he escapes him forever. So Devontae Smith has that top 7 wide receiver potential in 2023. Dotson could get there, but you can't like Dotson more than him. You could, but you shouldn't. Dotson's gonna be the real deal, though. I'm telling you, this kid's shifty. He's quick. He's elusive. He knows how to catch. Knows how to catch a football that a lot of other players can't. He knows how to get open. He knows how to find open space. He's slippery. He's gonna break off 4 or 5 long touchdowns. Sam Howell already holds the franchise record. In his one lone start last year, Sam Howell holds the franchise record in Washington for the most air yards under a pass. And that's exciting. That's exciting that Washington finally gets a guy that has a cannon. He has a cannon. Sam Howell has a cannon. Whether it's an accurate cannon, we'll find out. But it's a cannon. Rock Out.
He was my. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, let's go to Rock Out real quick. Rock Out, what's up, man?
I got a question. is me and you kind of psycho liking Swift, even though he got hurt 2 years in a row, even though we believe in the talent and we're just scared about his injury?
Well, I mean, I got a whole video on this. I hate to just like beat a dead horse on it, but I'd say go watch the DeAndre Swift video for anybody that wants to hear more. But, I mean, the guy averaged 5.5 yards per carry, which was top 5 in the National Football League. He had 8 touchdowns in this season that everybody says he went missing, and he still had 8 touchdowns. Well, to me, that's exciting. There's an exciting way to look at that. You could say, hey, the team didn't want to use him. They didn't want to use him, and you can try and tie that to Philly, but why would Philly trade for him if they don't want to use him? So This guy scored 8 touchdowns. 8 touchdowns. It wasn't used. I'm excited about it, and Philly's got the best offensive line in the National Football League. It just seems like a gift. Like could he get injured? Absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt about it. He could get injured. I'm not sitting here saying that he's some safe player that has no risk at all. He certainly got risk.
Yep.
But I mean, why not take that risk? Why not take that risk when you're talking about 6th round value? So give me Swift all day long. This is gonna be my par for the course. I mean, we're talking about 9th round pick. I do this every time almost. 8, 9 round turn. Let me just see real quick. I'm gonna queue. I have to take Zach Charbonnet because I think I'm just gonna go Alvin Kamara and Zach Charbonnet here. I know I'm pretty stacked at RB. I've got a load of RBs, but you can start 3 RBs. That's the part that I don't understand. People ignore the running back positions so much in these two running back, 3 wide receivers, and a flex. I mean, you could start 3 running backs. And if the running backs are a little bit more scarce, similar to how people were laughing at early quarterback drafting, I think come this time next year, people will be very interested in drafting running backs earlier instead of having this whole we got to take wide receivers. You got to take wide receivers. I think that a lot of people will trend toward taking RBs next year. I think. So my team, I definitely, I'm going to go cheap wide receiver shopping later, but this is a pretty good squad so far, in my opinion. I'm pretty happy about it. It's Trevor Lawrence. Let me move myself out of the way. It's Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. You can see it on the right side of the screen. It's Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Kamara, Charbonnet. That's a loaded running back room. Trevor Lawrence, I love. Jamar Chase, Dotson, Waller. I mean, you could say there's not a single weakness with this team except for the wide receiver 3, 4, 5, 6, which is going to be something I got to remedy over the course of the draft. But that's one problem to solve versus trying to, solve multiple. I'm set at RB. I got my flex and my 2 running backs balling out.
So now that you brought up Kamara, go ahead.
Okay. Maybe if you get Kamara, should we be also getting Miller?
Like in my situation, I'm not going to be too worried about it. Let me see if I can expand this a little bit. Hold on. In my situation, I'm not going to be too worried about it because I've got look at my running backs. I got Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, Walker, Kamara, Charbonnet. I'm not extremely concerned about it, but I certainly would try. I would try to get a Kendre Miller later, but I'm probably not going to be in that position because I'm probably going wide receiver heavy for the remainder of the draft. So I probably won't be. I won't be putting myself in that position. But let's look at these teams real quick. Jefferson, Tony Pollard. We're gonna start off. Let me put a box on screen here. We've got Jefferson, Pollard, Derrick Henry, Hawkinson, Herbert, George Pickens, Dak Prescott, Juju, Tyreek Hill, Saquon, Devontae Smith, Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, Pacheco, Dalvin Cook, Flowers, Daniel Jones, Cooper, Nick Chubb, Ramondre, Drake London, Michael Pittman, Jordan Addison, Deshaun Watson, Tua, Elijah Moore, Bijan, Chris Olave, Najee Harris. I like this team a lot. DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy, DeAndre Swift. I like this team a lot. Kirk Cousins, McCaffrey, Jalen Waddle, Lamar, Hopkins, J.K. This is a good team. Goddard, Brandon Cooks, Javonte. That's a really good squad. Diggs, Josh Allen, T. Higgins, Mike Williams, Christian Kirk, Brandon Ayuk, Gabe Davis, Madison. Madison's a very good value in the 8th round. That's really, really good. That's solid. Let me get back to, I think I'm on the clock here. I will be in a second. And then I'll come back and review. Go ahead if you guys got a question.
Yeah, so Smitty, I want to know that, let's say Kenneth Walker and Alvin Kamara both play 17 games. Who do you value more, Charbonnet or Miller?
Charbonnet still. I think Charbonnet could have a role. Real quickly, I'm on the clock here. I'm probably going to go Sky Moore and Rashee Rice. Kind of like almost, I wouldn't say a waste. Let me just check out the RBs real quick. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a waste. I just think that one of those two guys will shine. Sky Moore, Rashee Rice. I'm going to go ahead and take both of them in best ball. Kind of makes me feel comfortable with this wide receiver room right now to have Jamar Chase, Dotson, Sky Moore, Rashee Rice. I feel like that's going to be it's going to give me a good wide receiver 3 somehow. I believe in Tony, but I don't believe in Tony on some like crazy level. I believe in his talent. I just don't know he's going to put it all together. I think that combination, rookies progress really slowly in Andy Reid's system usually, but Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, one of those guys should shine.
Yeah. Weird how the best quarterback in the NFL has won Super Bowls with like mid-tier wide receivers. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's good, man. That's why he's the new GOAT. I'm sorry, what was your question? Did I answer it?
Mine you did, yeah.
Okay. Rock out, what else you got? Phone lines are open if anybody wants to dial into the show. Let me hit the phone line number real quick.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
All right, rock out. What else you got?
So you think Mingo's gonna have a pretty good start, or is it gonna have like mid-year?
Mingo?
I just drafted him.
I think Mingo is going to be an amazing wide receiver 3. I think he's got the potential for a lot more. He's got the potential to be like a Marquise Colston, who came out of nowhere for New Orleans a long time ago. I don't know if anybody remembers Marquise Colston. I like the way this kid can develop. I think he could be one of those out of nowhere Antonio Brown, risers that people don't see coming. Antonio Brown had that vibe. Marquise Colston had that vibe. There are a lot of wide receivers that have emerged like that before. I certainly think he's got the capability of being that out of nowhere guy. He's going to mature along with his young quarterback at the same time, become his number 1. I'm just excited about Mingo.
Me too.
Yeah, remember Colston, Marquise Colston? He was good. That guy, I remember his first week. The first week, he was a waiver wire guy too. Like, not very many people drafted him at all, and he was like the week 1 waiver wire guy. And some people didn't pick him up. And then week 2, he was a waiver wire guy as well. And I remember everyone was wondering if he was a tight end, and there was some confusion about that when his first week. But Colston was a really, really, really great player. That reminds me a lot of Mingo on every level, just like out of nowhere. People are going to doubt him. No one's going to see him truly coming, and he could be a staple in the NFL for a while. Mingo's very, very solid. He could be one of those guys that you're drafting as a rookie and you're getting like veteran production out of him by midseason.
Why was he so low in the rankings during pre-draft process? Like, he was just a wide receiver I didn't even have my eye on until draft day.
Mingo? Because of draft capital, he didn't project to go high. And so, that's just kind of the name of the game in the NFL. It's like if a player is not going to be drafted high, then you're not going to consider them as much of a potential fantasy football asset, because if teams aren't drafting these guys high, they're not putting a lot of value on them, then you know that the opportunity is a lot harder to come by. So if somebody, let's say somebody doesn't draft one of these RBs we love, like Zach Charbonnet, until round 4 or 5, he now becomes so much more expendable. And it's just the way the NFL is. Now, are there players that rise up? Absolutely. Like George Kittle was a late round pick, but they didn't just discard him because he was a late round pick. The Niners loved him, and he rose up really quickly. But it's certainly one of those things where, like, he wasn't highly projected, so we couldn't really buy into him. He couldn't just say, watch, this guy's going to go somewhere very cloudy, not going to have any draft capital and climb up ranks. He wasn't highly ranked by a lot of people, but him landing in a situation like he did, where he got drafted way higher than people expected, the draft capital's there, the situation's there, and now he's going to develop with his quarterback. I mean, this guy's got a potential, wide receiver 3 in fantasy value, like, immediately. I like him a lot. Why is everybody sleeping on Terrence Marshall? I don't know. I mean, what did Terrence Marshall do last year? What was his? Let me look up Terrence Marshall. Yeah, Terrence. I mean, I've heard that a couple times. Actually, people have said that to me several times this week. Why aren't you high on Terrence Marshall? And let me pull it up.
Him and LaVisca are just done to me. I'm not touching either of them.
Am I almost up? Okay, yeah. Terrence Marshall had 490 and 1.
Okay.
He had an 87-yard game, a 76-yard game, a couple 50-yard games, and he had 1 touchdown. So, like, I mean, there's upside, I suppose, but I don't think anybody's like missing, the boat here by not having him high. Like, I could understand somebody saying, "Hey, I kind of like him," in the right, the right things unfold for him a certain way. He could be something special. But you've got 2 wide receivers that are projected to be ahead of him. Maybe he starts off the year ahead of Mingo. We'll have to see. But I don't think he's locked into anything, any kind of production. I really don't feel like ultra excited about him. Okay. I'm going to time out, so I'm just going to draft him now. Josh Downs, I've reached a little bit because I had him queued. But I'm trying to find another wide receiver that I like. Dobbs, wide receivers are...
Do you think Downs can take that wide receiver role over Pierce? A lot of people are low on Pierce, but I think he still has potential.
I think Downs could be the number 1 wide receiver there. I don't know that it'll happen, right away.
I don't know about that, Smitty.
Yeah.
I love Pittman.
Oh, am I going to time out? I timed out on Thielen. Damn it. Damn it.
Man.
Damn it. Damn it. Get down. Thielen, get to the chopper.
The chopper got blown down.
Yeah, get to the chopper. I mean, he's okay, I guess. Get to the chopper, Thielen. That's all right. I hate when you time out, though. It just makes you feel dirty. You don't feel like you had a clean.
Sour.
Yeah, you didn't have a clean draft. It's like
sour and gross.
Just feel a little bit dirty.
Darn it.
Just a little bit, wee bit. Let's see if I can zoom in here. Here we go. Let me zoom in one more time. There we go. There we go. No, that's too much. It's a good-looking draft, I'll tell you. Where did I end off? I think I was at Bijan. Bijan, Olave, Najee. I like that team. That team's really, really good. Let me get back to my marker. McCaffrey, Waddle, Lamar, Hopkins, J.K., Goddard, Cooks. It's a good squad. Diggs, Josh Allen, T. Higgins. Let me just make sure I'm still far away from being on the clock. Yeah. Okay. T. Higgins, Mike Williams. I mean, it's a good team. I don't like where are the running backs? What's this guy have at running back? Who is this? This is George from the Bay? George, where are your RBs? You got Diggs, Allen, T. Higgins, Mike Williams, Christian Kirk, Brandon Ayuk, Gabe Davis. I see RBs down here. I don't even know who your RBs are. Alexander Madison, Dylan Herbert, McKinnon. I don't know if that's going to cut it, Georgie boy. I like Madison. That could save you. That would be very interesting if you got an RB1 out of that. That would be one of those crafty moves at the end of the day. But, I mean, I do like Madison a lot. I do. Kelsey, JT, Jacobs, Debo. Debo's good value there. He was in the panic chamber tonight, but I don't mind Debo here. Godwin, Lockett, Dotson. Deontay. Yeah, it's not a bad squad. A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, Andrews, Metcalf, Aaron Jones, Mixon. I like it. Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra. This is collusion right here. Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra, ETN, Watson. I like this team. Kyle Pitts, Anthony Richardson, Cam Akers. Who's your other quarterback?
You got Amon-Ra
Aaron
and Garrett
Rodgers.
Wilson.
Aaron Rodgers. That's a great job. What?
You got Amon-Ra and A.J. Brown?
No.
Garrett Wilson?
Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra,
Wilson.
ETN, Watson, Aaron Rodgers. That's a really good squad. Patrick Mahomes,
That's a really
CD, Calvin, Burrow. Burrow. This is good value. I like this team. This team's really good. Mahomes, CD, Calvin Ridley, Joe Burrow. Devontae Adams, Eckler, Amari Cooper, Fields, JSN, Damian Pierce. Solid squad. They're all good teams.
Oh, Smitty, before I go, I had a question I needed to ask you about underdog.
Yeah.
So, I live in a state that recently banned underdog.
Oh, that's
Do you
horrible.
draft on another platform?
No, I'm exclusive to Underdog.
Damn.
Sorry to hear that, pal.
didn't live in this.
Man, how did that come about? They made it legal, then they took it back?
No, okay, so check this out. Last year or the year before, I've had an underdog account for a while. I remember having funds left over from my underdog account that I never used. I tried it a couple times and then just kind of fizzled out with it and didn't use it for a good season and a half. So I log back into my underdog account. I see that I still have $18 in my underdog account, but then I get a notification saying was recently banned in your area or whatever.
Well,
And,
is your state
Google.
is your state? Oh, go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, and then I Googled it, is Underdog Fantasy banned in Michigan? And I got this whole article saying that they got rid of it in 2020 or 2021.
Weird.
Yeah, now I can't use my Underdog account unless I go to a different state. So,
That's weird, bro. I haven't heard that. That sucks.
Yeah, so I was trying to see if you had a different platform you draft on, but if not, then it's all good.
No, but contact them to get your refund. They'll send you a refund on what they owe you, but that's crazy. I can't imagine them taking it away from somebody after they give it to you. That's got to be brutal. So hopefully that doesn't happen to anybody else.
It's just sitting there. I'm like, bro, I was going to see if one of my friends would just log in and just draft for me.
Just email him. Yeah. Or go out of state. Go into a state where you can do it.
Yeah, I might just wait. I mean, it's money there, so we'll see. But yeah,
All right,
I
hey,
just wanted to ask that.
yeah,
about
yeah.
the
Hey,
vote.
Super Rudy, call in anytime, pal. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Smitty. I appreciate the help with the trades and all that, and I love calling into your show now.
Yeah.
So.
All right, man. Later.
All right. Have a good night.
Rock out. You got anything? Final thoughts?
What's your thoughts on the Denver wide receiving core as far as production?
Well, I just took Marvin Mims, so I'm kind of intrigued by him.
Yeah.
I think Marvin Mims could be. He seems to be Sean Payton's guy. We hear that a lot. Like Sean Payton likes him, but I don't know. I don't know what to fully expect. It's a crowded wide receiver room, so I'm kind of like not loving going any Denver wide receiver at all. But, this late in the draft, 15th, 16th, 17th round, Marvin Mims feels pretty decent because he's a pretty talented guy, and you keep hearing things like Sean Payton loves him, so I'm willing to take him. But I'm definitely not, extremely excited about him, in an underdog draft or anything. But my team so far, I'm liking it. It's definitely got some wide receiver concerns, but, you're going to have a concern somewhere. You can't be just completely stacked everywhere. So Trevor Lawrence, Sam Howell, thin at quarterback, but I do like both these guys a lot. Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara, Zach Charbonnet. I don't think you can get much better than that at RB. I mean, if Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Kenneth Walker all ball out, I mean, Alvin Kamara, Zach Charbonnet are just on the side of that, just in case, they're needed. Jamar Chase, Jahan Dotson, Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, Josh Downs, Adam Thielen, Marvin Mims, Darren Waller. I like it. I think it's a good squad. George from the Bay's calling in. George from the Bay, what is up?
Smitty, what's up, dude?
What's up?
Man, you were roasting my team because I got no running backs.
Well, I wasn't roasting. I just said you didn't have any, and like I don't think that's roasting. It's just me acknowledging that you had no running backs. It wasn't me trying to say it's not a good team still. It's like look.
I'm going to zero RB strategy here, just stocking up on like good solid wide receivers.
You're definitely going zero RB. That's for sure. You're not just saying that. And you're definitely
but they're all running backs that I like that have like goal line potential for touchdowns, so yeah.
So George from the Bay, his team right here is the team that I have highlighted with Diggs in the red box here. So I'm going to zoom down here and show you. So this is probably one of the thinnest running back rooms I've seen though. Diggs, Josh Allen, T. Higgins, Mike Williams, Christian Kirk, Brandon Ayuk, Gabe Davis, and then you start picking up your RBs with Madison, A.J. Dillon. I guess my question to you would be this, and I'm not saying it's, you can't win this way. I'm not saying A.J. Dillon and Madison aren't actually pretty good, and Khalil Herbert, pretty good additions like this late, but like what good is Christian Kirk, Brandon Ayuk, and Gabe Davis to you at that point when you've already got Diggs, T. Higgins? Like, I just think that, those wide receivers, while they're not bad, they're not the guys that are worth going away from all the RBs round after round after round when you're collecting. And I like Kirk and Mike Williams, they're okay, and Brandon Ayuk and Gabe Davis, but those guys aren't worth, I think, that sacrifice. It'd be different if you were scooping up like monsters and you just kept finding them. Like you got London, you got Watson, then you got Dotson, and you keep going down and you just ignore running back.
So let me explain those two picks, okay? So my two stacked wide receivers, Gabe Davis and Diggs, both have a bye week 13. And so week 13, the Niners play Eagles, which I expect to be a shootout. So Ayuk's going to have a bunch of points that week. All right. And then Jacksonville plays the Bengals. That's another shootout. So those are basically compensation picks for that week during the bye week. See, what I do is I try to build my lineups and stack them, based on the matchups each week, and then obviously correlate with like the playoff weeks for underdog and like week 15, 16, 17. So Minnesota plays Green Bay. if one of those running back goes off in that Week 17 matchup, I could be in the playoffs and win $1 million.
So I'm not saying you don't have some logic that makes sense and that I don't, I get it, obviously. I do this too. I know I definitely see what you're doing and I understand it, but like you still got to make it to that round. You know what I mean? Like you can't, if you stack too much or you try worrying.
I have the best team in this draft. You don't think I'm going to make it into the playoffs?
No.
Oh, come on.
I mean, George, I'm not saying you can't draft good. You draft good all the time. I see you draft some dingers, bro. Like you've got a good ability to draft. This is not a knock on your general sense of drafting, but this team's not making the finals. Diggs, Josh Allen, T. Higgins, Mike Williams, Christian Kirk, Brandon Ayuk, Gabe Davis.
Oh, yes, it will. Hey, look, this pick I'm about to make right here, this is the sleeper of the century. You ready?
All right, hold on. Let me zoom down. I like Luke Musgrave. I like him a lot.
So do I.
Yeah, his metrics are really good. He's definitely a good tight end. I don't mind your approach. I just don't like these guys for it. Like I said, let's say you got Christian Watson in round 3, and if you like T. Higgins over Christian Watson, that's fine. That's fine. Let's leave that one alone. So T. Higgins. So you got T. Higgins, and then if you're getting let's just say Christian Watson or Deebo or Drake London.
I was looking to go Deebo there, and I got sniped.
Okay,
so I had to go best available.
But Mike Williams over Drake London. How you gonna win a championship doing that?
Mike Williams has those spike potentials where he could put up a 20-point game, 30-point game, like any week. The only thing is he's injury prone.
Okay, but what I'm saying is your strategy isn't bad. If you were to, let's say, from that 31 overall pick, T. Higgins, let's just say from this pick right here, T. Higgins, I would have taken Watson, but you like T, no problem. Okay, so let's call that just even Steven thing. You take T, you get Watson or Deebo here or Drake London. You get one of the other ones, Drake London, something like that, Dotson right here. So you go T. London, Dotson, and then here George Pickens. I could get behind what you're doing here. I could say, you know what? He's got an elite group of wide receivers, but Christian Kirk, Brandon Ayuk, Gabe Davis, I don't know. I don't think, and Mike Williams, I don't think those are the guys you make this sacrifice for. You know what I'm saying? You can use this sacrifice. You can use Green Bay matchups and in week 17, week 16, and week 15 matchups. I love all that, but I think you gotta make it to the big dance, bro. And I don't know that team is gonna do it. You say you have the best draft. You think you have the best team in this draft? Seriously?
In my opinion, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I respect your opinion, but I don't know, bro. I'm not saying my team's the best team I've ever drafted either in this draft. I'm not trying to say that, but I don't think I'd be sitting there going, yeah, week 17 is when I'm going to win it with this team. I'd be like,
don't you hate drafting from the one spot and you got your guys and you're like, fuck, I got to reach 30 picks, 20 picks to get my guy because it's not going to come back to me. Oh man, I hate the one spot.
I mean, I did that with Gibbs in this draft, and I knew I was going to get a little flack for it because I'm like, wait as long as you can. But in best ball, I don't mind it. As long as no one's taking Gibbs in round 2, if you got to take Gibbs in the top of 3, I'm not mad at it. I do it myself. I try not to promote it.
You have a take on Gibbs. You think he's going to be top 5 running back? Get him in the 3rd round. That's a steal.
Yeah. It's not, but don't take him in the 2nd because you want him so bad. You gotta definitely be. But yeah, I mean, I reviewed all the teams already. Wayne Solo. I went through them all, pal. What's Wayne's team? The Bijan, Olave, Najee. Yeah, it's a good team. Bijan, Olave, Najee. Hold on, I got to draft real quick. Wayne's trying to get me the timeout. I got 2 tight ends. I could use another. Really, I'm pretty balanced. I'm going to time out on this
George,
one.
what running back was available for you when you picked Mike Williams?
I just queued somebody. Tyler
I
Scott.
wasn't planning
That's
on
fine.
going running back till late, anyways. Until after round 9. So I wouldn't have taken a running back there. There was, let's see, it's like first one off the board was Miles Sanders or Aaron Jones.
Oh, you had Walker there.
Oh, Walker. J.K.
Yeah,
I'm not high on Walker. Like I don't want to touch that Seattle offense at all.
But
there's too many weapons.
But the thing, George, is that like Walker over Mike Williams and those guys, like, I mean, I think those are. I just don't think those are the plays. You know, Christian Kirk, Mike Williams, Gabe Davis, those are your wide receivers. I just don't think those are the plays to do your strategy you're talking about. Your strategy's fine, you know, if you want to just go heavy wide receiver, but I don't think those are the guys you're sacrificing, the Walkers and the that just seems like, I don't know.
Yeah. If you don't mind me talking here,
Occlusion?
If you would have taken those three picks that you picked wide receivers that were kind of like end of the road wide receivers, if you ask me, and you put running backs in there, your team is phenomenal.
That's what I try and tell them. That's what I try and tell them, bro. That George, you have a really good drafting style. Like you got. Let's go to these teams real quick. So let me go to George. Where's George's team? All right, let's go to the board real quick. So yeah, George, when you were on the clock at this 42 overall, let's just say you keep T. Higgins where he is. Okay, so you went Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, T. Higgins. Okay, let's leave those three alone. People like T. Higgins, I get it, I respect it. At 42, instead of Mike Williams, you could have had London, Kenneth Walker. So yeah, if it's me, I'd take Kenneth Walker if I'm you, George, instead of Mike Williams. And then at 55, instead of Christian Kirk, who could he have got? Who do you say, Collusion?
Well, they just had a lot of wide receivers there. Hold on, I'm trying to bring up the board right now.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what I think it is, George? Sometimes I'm not even showing the screen. I'm sorry. Here's the team. Sometimes, George, I think what it is you force something. You don't go with flow very much. You don't use the flow.
Aaron Jones and Miles Sanders both there.
I think if you went with the flow more, George, you would be like a prodigy drafter. I think you've got a real good knack for certain things. But you go in with set approaches. You go, I got a plan of attack. You even say it. I got a plan of attack. You can't have a plan of attack. You got to go in loose. You got to go in loose, man. You got to go with the flow. If something goes this way, you got to go that way. I think you got to explore that a little more, because that is probably, if I had to guess, your weakness. You have a really good instinct, but you set yourself on something and you sacrifice value to get that accomplished. Like you were going wide receiver straight down the board. Look at this wide receivers, 31, 42, 55, 66, 79. Your first running back's Alexander Madison. I don't mind Alexander Madison. That would have been a phenomenal second running back. What if you went Kenneth Walker instead of Mike Williams, and then you had Alexander Madison and Kenneth Walker? Then I'm starting to like your team a lot.
I want nothing to do with Walker this year. I have my own personal taste, which is fine.
Yeah,
Everyone has their own opinions. I want nothing to do with Walker. I don't want to touch DK.
What running back
on that Seattle offense?
What running back do you like then? Don't use the process, not player. What running back do you? I'm just trying to help you. What running back do you like that's around that territory?
If anybody, I probably would have went Aaron Jones, but I mean, like I said though, I'm going 0 RB. I'm not taking a running back till round 9 or 10. And right there, I had to take Madison because he fell 10 picks past ADP, and I know he's going to end up taking over that starting job once Cook gets cut. So that's a RB1 with round 3, round 4 potential in round 8.
And I like that. I like that as your second running back. But even if you were to go wait until round 9, let's say, and I think that outside of our drafts, you'll get some of those other guys to fall a little bit, and you'll be able to scoop up another player outside of Alexander Madison. But
I was going to go Javonte Williams there if Madison would have got picked.
I don't mind that. If you were to get P. Ryan, Javonte, Madison, I like your approach. I just don't like the wide receivers. I just think those wide receivers aren't getting it done. Like if you had gotten, let's say, T. Higgins, Deebo, Dotson, combinations of those guys. And like you said, we have different opinions. You have different values. There's, obviously you got to use your own guys, but I just think it's a fun approach, but I think different wide receivers would maybe give you a better shot.
I was really hoping that CMC was going to fall to me at 7, and he went at 6. So then I went with Diggs, who's my next highest player. And then once I went Diggs, I already knew I was going to build that Buffalo stack. So I was going to go Diggs and Davis or Diggs and Kincaid. So when Davis fell to me, I took Davis to complete that stack. And then I feel like I got really good value on Ayuk, really good value on Christian Kirk. I mean, those are all their top receivers on both their teams. Mike Williams, he's injury prone, but he could put up a 2-touchdown game at any time. So, I mean, I'm basically swinging for the fence with this lineup. A.J. Dillon can get that goal line work. And who knows, maybe Aaron Jones gets hurt and Dillon takes over,
Yeah.
Khalil Herbert. I like Herbert over the rookie Johnson.
Again, I don't mind the strategy. Just a couple different receivers would have done. Like I would have taken London personally, but if you don't like London, I get it.
Yeah.
I think Deebo might fall in a lot of those situations, and then all of a sudden you got a different looking team. So, not saying don't do that strategy.
I've noticed Deebo falling a lot lately.
Here is my squad.
I got one thing to try to help you with, and not to help you, but I just look at your lineup, and the only 3 bad picks I think you had were the Mike Williams, Ayuk, and Gabe Davis. And I think what you could have done there, because if you look at your tight ends are very weak too. If you would have thrown just a running back and another tight end there, because I love, like you said, I love the Kirk pick. I think that's a great value there. I think he's going to be, again, a number 1 wide receiver. So, I mean, your team, like I said, I think you just kind of went too heavy on wide receiver, and you could have just flopped in a tight end there and a running back here and there. And I think that team, like somebody said, would have been just crazy. It would have been a great team.
Yeah, I think you went in hardcore on the plan and didn't adapt to any RB that might have come across your way. That's the only thing I'm saying. Like if you adapt a little bit to your plan, George, because you say I had a plan. You always say that I had a plan of attack and I went and executed it. It's like you can't always go with a set plan of attack because you're going to leave value on the table. Like that's all I'm saying. Like it's almost like you're going in to sell, stock. Like you go into a stock market, opening in the morning, and you have your heart set on selling X number of stocks and buying X number of stocks without even looking at the value of it is changing. That's what it feels like to me when someone goes into a draft and they say, I'm going to execute this plan. I'm like, well, what happens if the stock goes up? What happens if the players fall? And, that's all I'm saying. Like George, it's a compliment. Like, I like your style. I just think maybe adapt a little bit as the flow unfolds. But let's see. Let me go to Wayne Solo's team real quick. Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, Stroud, Bijan, Najee, Swift, Olave, DJ Moore, Judy, Mingo. Like it, man. That's a good team. Freiermuth, Komet. I like it a lot. That's a good job, Wayne. Very, very good job. And let me just see. Let me see if I have any others. Collusion. Let's look at your team. Collusion. You're on the phone. Anthony Richardson, Aaron Rodgers. Very creative stack of quarterbacks right there. I really, really like Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, and Richardson. ETN, Miles Sanders, Cam Akers, Chase Brown. Very, very decent running back room. Like the Deuce Vaughn pick at the end. This wide receiver room and tight end room is why you potentially look a little thinner in your running back depth, maybe. And maybe not. I mean, maybe Akers goes out and proves everyone wrong, and you don't even have a thin running back stable, but your wide receivers, Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra, Christian Watson, Jalen Hyatt. You've got Kyle Pitts and Dalton Kincaid. I mean, that tight end room is nasty. And that wide receiver room is nasty. So, like, if you land your RBs, if ETN catches 65 balls and proves everyone wrong that he shouldn't have been counted out because his first year, he didn't play his rookie year. So last year was like his rookie year. He was learning. and they didn't trust him fully in the receiving department or the pass protection game. And if ETN just all of a sudden takes this leap that everyone's assuming can't happen, I don't know why they assume it can't happen. They just assume ETN can't catch passes because he didn't during his rookie year. I mean, that's a good wide receiver room and tight end room. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, well, I had somebody that took a running back very early in the third round, and that was Gibbs. So that's who I was hoping to fall to me, but unfortunately he didn't. But I'd like to hear what George has to say. And another thing I want you to talk about a little bit, Smitty, is my last pick, Khalif Raymond. What do you think about that?
I like Khalif. I think he could be decent. I don't hate that pick at all. Let me go back to your team.
I know it's a deep pick. So.
Yeah, I mean it's good. It's good for a while. He's like 6
Which
games.
Which one's your team? M Hall? Is that your team? M Hall?
Yeah. So six games. Raymond could be leaned on a little bit, and that could prove to be a good pick for the first half of the season, and then maybe drops off a little bit. But I mean, look, your wide receiver room is really, really good. I mean, the fact that you have those 3 wide receivers and still have an ETN, and you still have an Aaron Rodgers, you have Anthony Richardson in fantasy football, has got lots of value. Your tight end room is off the hook.
Yeah, but see, this is where I got to chime in, right? You guys give me all this like hard slack for taking all those wide receivers, but then here he is with only 6, and 3 of them have question marks. We don't know if Jalen Hyatt's really the guy or Tank Dell yet. Khalif Raymond is the wide receiver 4 or 5 in Detroit, so you could be rolling out some of these weeks with 2 or 3 wide receivers coming out and getting points.
I mean, Garrett Wilson. I mean, if you're talking about during bye weeks or injuries, yeah, I mean that definitely could take him out. Do I think? And I was going to mention that next, George, that I think he should have had another wide receiver because I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 isn't really a safe approach. So I agree with George on that. I think you need at least 7. And you probably want to pull from one of these RBs. So like having Spears, what good Spears? He has 1 ACL. I don't know that I would go that direction personally. I don't think I would. I would rather have another wide receiver because George is right. You get an injury or you have what do your bye weeks look like? Bye week 7.
Yeah, bye weeks are okay.
Yeah, they're okay. 7, 9.
And I agree with that. And Tajay was just like one of those picks that I just said, you know what? I just want another running back. The wide receiver depth is not there that late, so it's kind of concerning. But I agree with that. But when I picked Richardson actually in the 7th, I wanted to pick a wide receiver, but the quarterback depth was getting so low there that I said I got to take a quarterback here.
Yeah.
Like, well. Actually, George. I love
the quarterback room.
Yeah, George affected that because he took so many wide receivers.
Yeah, I will say. I mean, I still like his wide receivers better, but George is right. George, you went all wide receiver, and I still like his wide receiver room better. But George is right. George is right. You need 7 wide receivers. That is.
Let's talk about Richardson real quick because I know a few weeks ago I called and I said he might not start, but now I'm starting to think this kid. I mean, with all the reports
he's starting,
out,
bro.
He might be starting day 1.
No, yeah, of course he's starting. He's starting, bro. The only reason they would maybe not start him was they try and take a dive and lose 6, 7 games, then throw him in, and while he's learning, they maybe lose a bunch of games, and then they have the potential at Marvin Harrison Jr. But he's looking so good, and I know it's early. You're talking about no contact, and so it's a little ridiculous to get too crazy, but he's looking good, and his arm strength is through the roof. His athleticism, his ability to just run the football, when things break down. He's going to be. My only concern is him getting hurt, running too much as a rookie or something. But he's going to start. He's going to start. If he doesn't start, he'll be in there very, very soon. Fans are paying to see him play, and there's still a really good shot that him as a young kid learning is still going to lose a lot of games, and they'll develop him. And if I'm the head coach or GM or the decision maker, I'm saying to myself, look, we're probably going to lose games anyway. Let's put him out there as he learns, and then. Next year, we get a shot at Marvin Harrison Jr., or at least a really good prospect, right? and then we have him already to the point he needs to be to have a really good sophomore year. Because if they put it off developing him, maybe he still develops with half a season, but you'd rather just have him need to be where he's going to be, and then the odds are they're still losing games, or maybe they surprise people. But
when you look at this whole Colts offense, like with the weapons he's got, JT, Pittman, Pierce, now you add down to. I saw this video on YouTube, like a short video of him running routes and doing cuts. That kid has got so much quickness. It's like this offense could be elite.
It could. I think it's going to take some time, but I love Downs. I think Downs will take some time too, but he could be the number one wide receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark says, I thought Raymond had a suspension coming. I don't know. Does he? Sounds familiar. What?
It fit with Detroit. Detroit, right? All their wide receivers always have issues, though.
Yeah. Wayne Solo, you're live on the show, pal. What's up?
What's up, Smitty?
What's up, pal?
Yeah, sorry I hung up on you there.
It happens. People hang up on me all the time. What do you think of your team here? You got Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, Stroud. Kind of like one of those quarterback rooms that you aren't going to get the respect you deserve, and you admittedly deserve more respect than you get. It's a good QB room. Bijan, Najee. Go ahead.
I
was going to say Bijan, Najee, Swift. I love that running back room. That's a really good running back room. Rashad White. That's a really good room. Who knows what Kareem Hunt ends up doing for you if he even gets signed. Olave, DJ Moore, Judy, Mingo. You also need at least one more wide receiver, especially when you look at guys like Judy. You worry about injury. Mingo, you're not sure what you're going to get. Jaden Reed, you're not sure what you're going to get. Terrence Marshall, you don't know what you're going to get. So like you really need at least one more wide receiver, especially in that situation. Your tight end room is fire. I'd love to see what like Fields on this team. If you could get Fields somehow by drafting over and over, trying to replicate this kind of feel, and then you slip and fall into oh my God, he slipped and he shouldn't have dropped, and you get a Fields on top of this, and then you've got that Chicago Bears stack going, the DJ Moore, the Cole Kmet, and the Justin Fields. Like that would put this team over the top for me. And you could get lucky and things happen, man. It's a good squad.
It's certainly not my best team, that's for sure. I was hoping to get Justin Herbert in round five. Somebody sniped me, so
yeah.
Because he usually falls about, the fifth, third, fourth, fifth pick in the fifth round. So I was hoping he would be there.
It's a good team, man.
I kind of just took the, the Cousins strategy.
I love the Swift as your third running back. Your flex. That's your flex option. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, I was really thinking about Addison. He was right there where I took Swift. I was debating between those two. And then, obviously, I went Rashad White. I think Rashad White's going to be pretty good, though. I know he's, as a fourth running back, I like him. I could have went receiver there, though.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So here's my team. I had Trevor Lawrence.
I was planning on going with Rashad White right there. You took him right in front of me.
Yeah,
I thought you would, and so that's kind of why I took him, to be honest. And I knew you didn't have any running backs.
White solid. So my team is Trevor Lawrence, Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder. And then I got Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara, Zach Charbonnet. Wide receiver room is thin.
So Smitty,
yeah.
I gotta let Wayne and I gotta let George. Can we talk about your team? Because I think we're gonna have a nickname for you now. We're gonna call you the Reacher.
Am I the Reacher now? Well, yeah.
Hey, I reached on purpose for some of those guys because I knew they wouldn't be there because I knew I had you guys in my draft.
To be fair, Smitty was in the 1.1, and when he likes a guy, you got to go get him.
But I think there's a place and time and player and value to reach for. Like Gibbs in the third round, I don't think you were ever really truly reaching that bad at this point anymore. With him being now in the third round, he's kind of at the tail end of the third round. I think you take a guy in his round. I don't know that it's that crazy of a reach. My other reach.
Your team's freaking awesome, but I'm like look at your running back room. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, Walker, and then Kamara just sitting there hoping he can get a chance to play some football for me. Charbonnet locking up the Walker-Charbonnet situation. And I think having Trevor Lawrence and Howell, I really like Howell a lot. I think the top half of this team is solid, and we'll get down to the wide receiver room. Like, it comes at a cost. You can't just have
that's the thing. When you hammer all those running backs, you went 5 in like the first 9 rounds. You're going to be behind on wide receiver, but the quality of running backs that you got are really good.
Yeah, and the fact that you start 2 running backs in a flex, like, I think people are overlooking that, as mentioned in the chat earlier too by a couple people, is like you're starting 3 running backs and 3 wide receivers. Running backs they should be equal in value, or in some cases you could say more, because if you can start 3 running backs and everybody did start 3 running backs, you're going to be screwed at running back if you don't have any of them. So, I got Waller as well. So I think my tight end room is fire, because Waller, I think, is going to have a big year. I really like I'll get more excited about Waller. I'm going to do a video on Waller. I think Waller could have one really, really, really good year left. My wide receivers, again, it comes at a cost. You can't be lights out everywhere. So when someone says, and I saw a couple comments, Smitty, your wide receivers are trash. Like, I get it. I got Trevor Lawrence. I've got a running back room that is really hard to imagine getting. I've got a Darren Waller tight end situation, and then I still got Jamar Chase and Dotson. So I'm not that bad off. It's my depth at wide receiver. But are these guys, do they have potential? Does Josh Downs have potential to become the number 1 wide receiver in this situation? He kind of does. Does Sky Moore Rice, is that a creative wide receiver 3 for me that locks down something very solid for me? I kind of think it does. And then Adam Thielen I timed out, but maybe that's a steady Eddie wide receiver for me, and it ends up being a blessing in disguise, because I probably would have won another rookie, and at least I got somebody we know is going to catch footballs. So as much as Thielen is tough to like count on from a big production perspective, he's probably going to be there for me. So I kind of like the wide receiver room. I mean, Dotson to me is a wide receiver 1. I think I got 2.
I think you got the 2 best wide receivers in Kansas City, though, because those 2 wide receivers can go off for multiple touchdowns.
Yeah.
There's no thing. He did. He did get the 2 best receivers in Kansas City. I mean,
and it's a creative stack.
And that's something I was going to say, too, is that if you look at your wide receiver depth there, you've got 2 number 1s probably. I think Dotson's going to take over in Washington.
Agreed.
My personal belief. But then you have 2 wide receivers, both with probably the number 1 quarterback in the NFL. And you got 2 wide receivers off that team.
Yeah. I like it. I think if you're going to do what I did here, which is like almost crap the bed at wide receiver depth, you go crafty and you get Sky Moore and Rashee Rice. It's just, I don't know. It feels like a home run. It feels like a home run wide receiver 3. And I don't have to decide. It decides for me. I don't ever have to. This is what's so great about best ball. I don't ever have to make a decision of when to flip the switch and put Rashee Rice in, or put Sky Moore in. Highest scoring, optimal scoring lineups. We got Dotson, a wide receiver 1 with 3 question marks and a skull emoji. I don't think that's proper usage of punctuation and emojis. Trey, we're gonna send you on a lap. Yeah, I mean, Trey, Dotson's, he's going to explode, bro. He's going to explode. He's a great wide receiver. He's a fantasy football low-end wide receiver 1. He'll probably outscore Debo Samuel, Trey. I know you're a big Niner fan, although you got a Patriots avatar, which is confusing to me. And Trey, I appreciate you. I don't want you to think I'm going at you too hard, but I do appreciate you. I think you misused the question marks.
Terry McLaurin getting traded at the deadline if the Commanders are having a bad year.
Do I think McLaurin could get traded? He could. I mean, but here's the thing: will the Commanders have a bad year? Will they surprise, man? I feel like this team is going to rally around new ownership, which may not unfold until August, really, at this point. It's looking like it's going to be delayed. They got to vet 15 of these minority owners of this Harris Group, or whatever the Harris Group, that's going to buy the Commanders. It's led by Magic Johnson and the boys, but there are 15 stakeholders of this company that they've got to vet. It's going to take forever. But I still think, even though they walk in with a lot of decisions being made by former but soon to be ex ownership, these decisions are not going to impede anything, because we kind of like what's going on there right now. I think Sam Howell is the real deal, and I think the fan base and the NFL as a whole, like fan base, not just the fan base for Washington, but is going to kind of get behind the Commanders. And I think if they start looking impressive, and this Sam Howell guy, I'm not saying Kurt Warner. I'm not saying that. I don't want people to get the wrong impression here, but we need to remember that Kurt Warner's, Dak Prescott's, Russell Wilson's, those guys all came from out of nowhere. In Patrick Mahomes, I don't want to say Patrick Mahomes came from out of nowhere, but there was a time when he sat his entire rookie year, and Alex Smith was on fire during the tail end through all of October. You had half of the KC fan base saying, don't move on to Mahomes yet. We don't know who Mahomes is. Who is Mahomes? Who is this character? Alex Smith is playing good football. Let's keep him in there. People didn't realize how good Mahomes was going to be. I went on NBC Sports Radio at that time and said that Patrick Mahomes was not just a top 5 quarterback. He was a top 1 to 5 quarterback. This is when he hadn't played a snap. He was sitting on the bench the entire year. I did this on NBC Sports Radio in October when Alex Smith was on fire. And I said, everybody that thinks Alex Smith is your long-term answer, you have no clue that Patrick Mahomes is a top 1 to 5 quarterback in the making. And people thought it was a joke because half the fan base didn't even want him in the game yet. So all I'm saying is Sam Howell, everybody can laugh at Sam Howell all they want. Everybody can say Sam Howell. Who? Guys played one game. Well, in one game, he owns the franchise record for air yards. He threw a touchdown, ran 35 yards, and scored a touchdown on the ground. Did throw an INT, but showed he has a cannon, and he's got 2 of the most understated wide receivers in the National Football League, and McLaurin and Dotson. This is one of the better duos in the National Football League. The Washington Commanders have they're going to have something to say. People are going to be surprised at how good this team is in 2023, in my opinion. Even if they don't show it in wins and losses, they'll be prepping. They'll be like the Lions last year.
And they had a top 5 defense last year.
Yeah, and the Lions last year, everybody, and I don't know if you guys remember when I said the Lions would, I used to go on Raj's show, RSF 49ers on Instagram. We talk about the Lions and the Bengals all the time, but the Lions, and Raj and I both agreed on it. They were going to surprise everybody last year. And a lot of people laughed. The Lions, you got to be joking, whatever. Lions proved it. They didn't even do what they were supposed to do, or what they were capable of doing, but they showed the flashes to where now everybody loves the Lions walking into the season. I think the Commanders could do a very similar thing. They could have such an impressive year, even if the wins and losses don't get them into the playoffs. If they don't get enough W's, doesn't mean they're not gonna exit 2023 as a team that people go, wow, I can't wait to see them in 2024. I really like Sam Howell. Sam Howell is my favorite, and I have a video on this. My favorite rags to riches quarterback in fantasy football and in the NFL this year, by far. What is Trey saying? Trey says Terry had one of his better seasons last year. He's not dead. Dotson a top 12 is so bad. Dotson as a top 12 guy is so bad. I don't know.
Smitty, what they don't understand
I don't know what to tell people.
Both.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say both guys can coexist at the same time, so I don't think that's what a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Trey is understanding what I'm saying. No one's saying McLaurin is going to be garbage. But is Dotson going to pass McLaurin? I believe so. I think McLaurin is a really good wide receiver, but he's also, turning 28 years old? I'm not saying you fall off at 28, but his time has come to be that guy where he's a top 5 to 7 wide receiver. I still think he can, he can be very, very good, but Dotson has the ability to become the next Antonio Brown. And the crazy part is Dotson, like if you look at Dotson's numbers and you look at Christian Watson's numbers side by side, they're almost identical. These were both rookies last year, Trey. This is a guy that's still developing, Trey. And Dotson hasn't even begun to unpack and show you what he's working with, pal. Okay? So why don't you relax, sit back, enjoy the show, and let Dotson kind of tell you a little story. You're going to whisper sweet nothings in your ear all season long, and then you're going to walk into 2024, his third season, realizing that he is a top 12 wide receiver. I wouldn't be like, would anybody on the phone line here, you can be honest, don't just say it because I'm on the phone and I don't care if you disagree with me. Does anybody think it would be that crazy for Dotson to outscore Debo Samuel this year?
No. I think he will, actually.
Yeah.
I think he will actually as well, yeah.
You got you got 4 people right here in front of your face, Trey. And I'm sure this bothers you because you're a Niner fan, I'm sure. And I appreciate you. I'm not coming at you, even though you sometimes come at me. You got 4 people right here that think that Dotson will outscore Debo Samuel. And you can't blame injury.
If you check on the Instagram, I actually, before we even started this conversation about Howell and Dotson, I actually sent you a lineup where I literally have Howell, Dotson, and McLaurin in a lineup. And I was going to ask you what you thought about it because I went really heavy at running back. So, usually you're pretty weak at wide receiver, but I thought I balanced it pretty well, and I just wanted to get your opinion on it.
Yeah, so you sent it to me where?
Chat.
You sent
the
it
Instagram chat.
Okay.
The exclusive chat on Instagram.
Yeah, let me look at it. Okay, so you went, I got it right here. You went Anthony Richardson, Jordan Love, Sam Howell. Let me plug this in real quick and show it. So here's his team right here. He went Anthony Richardson, Jordan Love, Sam Howell, Bijan, Pollard, Gibbs, Kendre Miller, Chase Brown. I love the look. The quarterbacks are going to look a little weak, but you have 3 guys I really like. I'm a Pats fan, Smitty. So is Trey for... Okay. I thought you were a Trey Lance fan. I thought that's where it came from. I thought you were a Trey Lance Niner fan. Let me put it this way. No player on the New England Patriots roster, maybe Stevenson, but no player on the Patriots roster will outscore Jahan Dotson. Not one wide receiver. You can have all. You get all of them. Not one of them is going to outscore Dotson.
Add them all up.
Yeah, you might be able to add up 2 of them. Any 2 of them. Okay, so hold on. Here's your wide receiver room. You got McLaurin, Dotson, Watson, Jamison Williams. I like your team a lot. I like this team a lot. Kincaid, Laporta, Luke Musgrave. I like Musgrave a lot. George from the Bay likes Musgrave. We all like Musgrave, I think, on this call here. Musgrave's very, very talented. He's a big boy too. I think Musgrave could do some damage. This is a really good tight end class. It's everybody knew it, but it's starting to become even more impressive. It's crazy. Good wide receivers. I mean, I like them. It's a good team, Adam. I don't mind it at all. If you keep trying to...
I'm always trying to figure out, trying different strategies for the wide receiver. Because wide receivers, if you go heavy running back, you have to really kind of, play with it and hope that some will fall to you. And I was really shocked that I was able to get Watson, McLaurin, and Dotson. I was like, I'm okay with them being my 3 wide receivers based on the running backs that I got. So
Yeah,
just
I don't.
trying to
Yeah, and if
figure out
it's,
a different strategy what to do.
and especially if you keep trying that out, you'll end up landing somebody that you shouldn't get, and then your team looks even better. I don't think you're listening, Trey. Mondre will outscore Dotson by so much. I said receiving. He's going to receive. He's going to catch more yards than any of your New England Patriot wide receivers, and maybe multiple wide receivers
Who's
combined.
this on the phone talking about their roster? Who is that?
That was Adam.
Adam. Next time, look, next draft, try 0 RB. Trust me.
I got some. I got some.
I like 0 RB. I like 0 RB, bro. I like different wide receivers with it. That's all I was saying earlier. But I still like 0 RB. But here, like if you guys look at the screen, I don't know if you can see the screen right now. But if you go 0 RB, you could go 0 RB in so many ways that aren't like this one right here. This strategy that I had on my board right now. Like, Adam, don't you see value in this approach when you're talking 0 RB? You get Garrett Wilson, you get Olave, you get Watson, you get Joe Burrow, and then in round 5 or 6, you start scooping up the running backs. Like, this right here is a killer approach. Like, if I'm going to go 0 RB, it's looking like this. You know what I mean? Like, this right here is going to crush that team that you're drafting, all those Mike Williams and those players. Like, this is how you 0 RB. And even if you're to take Burrow out and you want to truly go 0 RB, tell me this team isn't crushing that team you just drafted. Garrett Wilson, Olave, Watson, Drake London, no running backs taken in the first 4 rounds. And if you want to wait on your RBs, you still could get Madison in one of Kamara or Swift and maybe still Charbonnet. But to me, I start drafting my RBs in round 5, 6, and 7 because that's where they're still very rich. You could still get Pacheco's. You could still get Dameon Pierce. You could still get Swift, Kamara, Madison. All those guys are really, really good. If you don't like Swift, if you don't like Kamara, replace him with the other guys I just mentioned, Pacheco and Madison. Whoever you like, just replace who I said. But the process here is more important than the players. This is the best 0 running back strategy you can deploy, in my opinion. And you could take Olave out and put another wide receiver in there. You could put St. Brown in there. Like, let's put St. Brown in there. St. Brown instead of Olave. I'm fine with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Where's my St. Brown graphic when I need him? Where are you, St. Brown?
George from the Bay.
George, what do you think about this 0 wide receiver?
I like it. Trust me, I love Olave. I love Watson. I'm a little bit more down on London than I think you are. I'm higher on Pickens than I think. I know you're high on Pickens, but I think I'm really high on Pickens. But I don't know. I just don't. I think that Atlanta offense is going to run the ball too much, and the volume there could be very good. But if we're counting on Pitts to have a bounce back year, that does take some targets away, I think, from London. So
okay, so
let's
take London out and let's put in Joe Burrow again. Like, this is still a 0 RB. Like, this is phenomenal. Even if you take Olave out and put St. Brown in, even if you take out, you could even go St. Brown. If people are uncomfortable with Garrett Wilson, you could give me another wide receiver. Anybody that you want, you could go St. Brown and AJ Brown if you want. You can really do whatever you want. But I just think this is the approach to deploy when you're going 0 RB.
But I think you got to look at something too. Is that Derek Carr always loves his number 1 wide receiver.
Always.
Always.
Laser
that's the other thing with the Burrow
locks.
pick. My strategy is always has to do with stacking. So I'm always looking to stack, at least 2 pass catchers or a pass catcher and a running back from the same team with the quarterback. So if I'm going Olave, I'm already thinking later in the 11th or 12th round to take Carr, possibly as my quarterback 2 or my quarterback 1.
Trey, this is the last time I'm going to entertain this nonsense, bro. It's just like, you're not hearing me. You're listening to me, but you're not hearing me. Smitty, how can a number 2 on his offense with a question mark at quarterback and a mediocre OC place top 12? It isn't logical at all, bro, just being real. You aren't listening to what I'm saying.
Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, Jalen. Yeah. You're not listening to me. He's the number 1. Like, that's where our divide is. So we're not going to get anywhere, Trey. I see Dotson as the number one wide receiver, and I also just told you Sam Howell is not a question mark in my mind. He's gonna explode. He's gonna have a nice little season that you're gonna go, oh yeah, he was pretty good. He was pretty good, Smitty. So I'm not gonna entertain that nonsense anymore because you're not even accepting what I'm saying. You're arguing a point without even accepting my stance. I'm telling you what my stance is, and you're arguing my stance with another angle that doesn't include my stance. You keep saying, if he's the number 2, when I just said I believe he's the number 1, Trey. I believe he's the number 1. I like McLaurin.
And Dotson didn't even play a full season last year.
Have you watched anything of Sam Howell?
Yes. I mean, he only started one game, but I've watched.
No, but he was really good in college.
Oh yeah.
He was a good quarterback in college.
He's good. He's
and
good,
people
bro.
never like take that stuff in consideration.
No, in the fact he's got a cannon, bro. He's got a cannon. He's got the best arm that the Washington Commanders have seen in more than a decade. They've never seen a quarterback, really, you could say almost ever, that has a cannon like Sam Howell has. And now whether it needs to be fine-tuned and whether it's going to be an accurate cannon, that's a whole nother debate. I get that. I'm not suggesting otherwise. But this kid is on the rise. He's got grit. He knows how to run the football. He if anybody watched every snap, every carry, every play last year, because he only started one game, he was phenomenal against the Dallas Cowboys. And he ran a really gritty touchdown run in where he literally dragged people into the end zone. He did throw a careless interception, but he has a cannon. He has a cannon. I'm excited about him. I know a lot of people aren't.
He's confident too. If you heard the interview or the press after the game where he was like talking about how they beat their asses when they had stuff with them having stuff on the line. Like, he's confident. He's not afraid of the moment. To me, that says a lot.
Yeah, and not to mention what helps Washington too this year. Like I said earlier, top 5 defense, but they also got Bieniemy from KC to be their offensive coordinator, so it could be an explosive offense.
Yeah, we'll see what he really had to do in KC. We'll find out if he was just getting coffee or if he actually was, helping create a lot of that. But everyone seems to say that.
I just got one thing to say. This Trey. 7 touchdowns, and Smitty, you probably know this better than I do. I think he missed 5 games last year.
Yeah, do we have to show?
Dotson missed 5 games.
Yeah, I'll put his game log on here. The fact that he got
hurt. Like 4 or 5, I think.
Yeah, the fact that he had 7 touchdowns is like phenomenal for a rookie. Like this kid is so exciting. He played 12 games. Let's put it on screen for Trey because He's having a tough time right now accepting this is our viewpoint. This is our viewpoint. There's a lot of us here that agree. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 people on the line, I think, that all agree that Dotson's got this potential. But you're talking
everybody that's in the chat. Everybody in the chat, put a 1 in the chat if you think Dotson's going to be top 12 wide receiver,
or he has a strong chance at being that. He could flirt with it. He was on pace for what was it? So 7 touchdowns on 12 games. So, he was on pace for about 10 touchdowns as a rookie.
Yeah. That was with a quarterback that, they weren't throwing the ball that much.
Yeah. Who was it, Carson Wentz?
Yeah. I mean, come on. We had break.
Yeah.
Right. And he had the 3 and he had 3 for 72, against the Cowboys with Sam Howell in there. And not to mention, he had a really strong finish. If you look at what Dotson did from week 13, the bye week, and then 15, 16, 17, 18, he had 54 yards and a touchdown. He had 105 yards and a touchdown. He had look at this string of games for Dotson to close out the season. Like, this is remarkable stuff. This is remarkable
and guess what, Trey? I'm a freaking Cowboys fan.
Look at this. Week 13, 54 and a touch. Bye week, week 15, 105 and a touch. Against the Niners in week 16, 6 for 76 and a touch. Week 17, 3 for 37, and week 18, 3 for 72. That was against the Niners. Dotson is a really, really, really good prospect. and I think people are going to be disappointed. Just keep an open mind if you're doubting at all. All right, hey, I'm going to get you guys all off the phone line. We've been live for, good God, how long? 2 hours. Let's go to George from the Bay. Final thoughts, George.
Yeah, final thoughts. Trey's going to be in his grandma league and lose to a team with Dotson.
That would be amazing. All right, appreciate you, George. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate your draft strategy. I appreciate your skill set. I think you got a good knack for talent. I just want to see you in terms of just growth. We all have weaknesses. I have weaknesses, bro. I have so many weaknesses, and over the years, I've been able to try and like hone in on them and make them into strengths, and that's kind of the whole point of the fantasyfootballshow.com video courses that will be dropping one after the other starting this week. I've got one up already, but I was supposed to have a lot more up for May, but it kind of pushed it to June. But video course section is going to be off the hook, and the whole point of those video courses is to like learn. Like so many people they don't learn. They just want to like, here's what I am. This is the kind of drafter I am. And I'm just going to try and go in each year instead of saying, what's a weakness of mine? Is it trading? Is it trading away talent that I assess? Like one of my weaknesses back in the day before I even started doing fantasy from a professional perspective was that I would assess everything properly. And then I was addicted to trading. I love trading. And I've just traded away. And so I'd watch other owners relish in my glory. And that was one of my bigger weaknesses when I was like a younger kid playing fantasy football. Like that, I definitely assessed it all properly, and then I got addicted to just making deals. Like I just wanted to make a trade. I was bored. So I had to learn how to be tough with my trades, walk away from the table, and I turned it into a strength. I'm one of the better traders I know, and I play hardball with people. And you guys saw me, Spacula's my boy, but you guys saw me work Spacula over pretty good on a trade, and I love my boy Spacula. I hope Spacula is not watching right now. Spacula, if you are watching, you know you're my boy, Blue. But I traded him Kelsey in our Dynasty League for, what was it, 4 first-rounders? You know, so, I mean, and he got a good tight end that could help him win now, so it's not like he didn't get but you got to turn your weaknesses into strengths. And my point is that if you go with the flow a little more, George, I think you're going to build dominating teams, okay, every time. Appreciate you, George.
Yeah, you know, a few weeks ago, you told me I was reaching too much, so then I started going more balanced. And then, you know, the last couple of drafts I've been doing, I just going in there with that strategy of 0 RB, just testing it out.
Yeah, no, hey, bro, test it like crazy. And I'm gonna have. I don't want you to come away with this conversation like I don't like 0 RB or hero RB. I love both of those approaches, and I'll create a video on both. I'll do a 0 RB and I'll do a hero RB video very soon to emphasize my love for all strategy. I love it. It's just best player available has got to guide you down the path. That's all. That's the only thing I say is that, you know.
All right. Good show, man. Good show. All
right.
I'll get off the phone.
Later, George.
Hey, George.
Oh, he's...
all this is only constructive criticism, and you drafted an awesome team. All we're trying to do is help each other out and, you know, get us to a better place in the long run. Unfortunately, that's why people reach, and because they know us and they know who we're going to pick. So, but awesome talking to you guys tonight.
Yeah, is that Collusion talking or Wayne?
That was Collusion.
Collusion, appreciate you. Thank you for all your support, pal. You're the man. Russian Collusion, everybody. Legend. Wayne Solo, final thoughts. Go.
I would just say, talking about Jaden Reed. I don't know if you've hit too much on Jaden Reed for Green Bay, but I think, I like Dotson as what you're saying about being the next Antonio Brown, but I think Reed might be in that conversation, at least as far as this year's draft goes.
He could be.
People need to maybe go do a little research on Jaden Reed.
I like him. I don't love him, but I like him.
I think there's a good chance he's a. Sorry, go ahead.
I think he's somebody to look at for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the wide receiver 2 in Green Bay here before we know it.
Thanks, Max. Appreciate you. Good stream. Thank you, Steven.
And going back to the RB1 strategy or the 0 RB strategy through round 8 or round 9, I just think you got Mingo out there, you got Reed, you got some other gems out there in the later rounds at receiver. I know you can pull it off with this 0 RB stuff, but I think you got to get lucky. You got to hope somebody falls to you in round 8 or round 9, or maybe even a couple of people. So
I think it's more about like you start off thinking you're going to go this way, and you just need to make sure you adapt and adjust and roll with the punches because, very, very, very often. By the way, one of my favorite strategies right now is the 4 horsemen. Hold on, let me punch the 4 horsemen button real quick. Hold on.
The 4 horsemen. Drafting Chase in round 1. Hall in 2. Burrow in 3. London in 4. Try Gibbs in 3. Burrow in 4. Wilson in 2. No problem. Combinations of these monsters will give your league mates nightmares, especially Bijan 1, Alavi 2, Burrow 3, and Gibbs 4. Don't lie. You just made an oopsie in your pants, didn't you? Ride for horses at the same time. The 4 horsemen.
By the way, that might be an elk, but that just makes it all that much better. That sound at the end. That's an elk. It may even be a camel and not a horse at the end too. We're not sure, but we kind of like it that way. But that 4 horsemen I'm deploying right now on a slow draft on Underdog Fantasy. Joe Burrow, Bijan. You can't really see that, so let me plug in real quick. This is the 4 horsemen in the making right now as we speak. I've drafted 3 of the 4 horsemen right there. So Joe Burrow, Bijan, Chris Olave. I don't know that I'm going to get Jahmyr Gibbs or not in this particular draft. We'll have to see. But if I get Watson, it's a variation of it. And it's like you go in with a plan of attack, but you just detour. You detour here, you detour there. Smitty, that is 100% an elk. Thank you, Peanut Butter and Waivers. We got some hunters in here that know what they're talking about here. I was looking for a horse sound, and I was in bed and I was editing that, and I didn't want to get up and go to my computer that was right here, and I just said, you know what? There's an elk sound. I'm going to use it, and it works perfectly. I love it. I wouldn't change it if I could go back. What? What was that? Somebody singing? But look at this 4 horsemen that I'm starting here. The 3 horses are lined up right now. What'd you say, Rock Out? Were you singing?
Kind of.
Okay. Anyway, let's go over to Wayne Solo. Wayne Solo, final thoughts. Go. 10 seconds.
Yeah. Last thought is just I think look, my best strategy out there is to kind of wait on tight end, get Fryer moved around 9, and then maybe try to get Laporta late. I think you're better off going that route.
Yep.
So
Kincaid's
and then just go heavy RB, heavy receiver, and then grab a quarterback.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate you, Wayne.
Yep. We'll catch you later, Smitty. Have a good one.
Later. Adam, final thoughts.
Yeah, I think people sometimes go into drafts trying to, like, I'm going to do this. I always come into an approach, no matter what the draft is, it's kind of based on where I'm drafting. I noticed certain like the first, second, third, some of those places, I noticed I like trying to do the, heavy running back, and then I like to try to go more 0 running back on, like, the later rounds. So kind of like you were talking about, trying to get the 4 horsemen, or the wolf pack. That makes a lot of sense to me on that. Also, I just want to put out there that Alex Pierce, I think, could have a big year this year, especially now that he's got a quarterback who can throw the ball down the field.
Yeah, I think Alec Pierce has got some upside. We liked him a lot last year, and he just kind of didn't do what we wanted. But, yeah, I'm okay with that. Ethan said that I stalked an elk, killed it with his field knife, my Justin Fields knife. Appreciate you there, Ethan. Collusion dropping a $5 hauler. Only show I know that has viewers on the phone live, best in the business. Thank you, Collusion. You are to the moon, pal. Always to the moon. Let me put the Wolfpack back on screen. This is the Wolfpack, ladies and gentlemen. And I think I gotta move these guys around because honestly, probably getting London in 4 and Watson in 3 now. So this is probably going to need to be moved around like this. This is probably more along the lines of what we're looking at. So London in round 4, Watson in round 3. But that is your wolf pack right there. And I think it's a really good approach. But what I did live on my show earlier at 7 p.m. is I drafted the first 3. I drafted Wilson, Olave, Watson, and then instead of taking London, even though he was available, I sidetracked and went Burrow, and I don't regret it. That team was pretty fire on the 7 p.m. show. Actually, let me put that team on screen here. That was a really, really good team. I really like it. I think it's a really good squad. I named it. I grabbed it here and I named it the Wolfpack team. Let me see. It was my second. It was my first poodle that I did, I think. Let's see here. Was it my first one? Joe Burrow. Yeah, it was my first. So here's the team. Let me plug in and show you. This is the first team I did on the Poodle 2s. I did it in dedication to the Wolfpack, and I feel really, really, really good about it. Let's see here. Here it is. So it's Joe Burrow, Jordan Love, Sam Howell, DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins, Alvin Kamara, Zach Charbonnet, Chase Brown, Garrett Wilson, Olave, Watson, Mingo, Hyatt, Downs, Nathaniel Dell, Kincaid, Laporta, Musgrave. Like, that's a pretty good team. Garrett Wilson, Olave, and Christian Watson and Mingo. I mean, I love those 3 wide receivers, and then Mingo is the fourth, and then Swift and J.K. I didn't expect to get J.K. on top of Swift and Kamara. So to have that all with Burrow, I think that was a great team. All right, rock out. I think everyone else left. Any final thoughts, pal?
Yeah, mark my word. Dobson's gonna be a top 12, and people gave crap about us trading down to get Dobson when we could have got Olave, but without that trade, they wouldn't have Sam Howell or Brian Robinson.
Yeah, I like Dotson. Dotson's going to be good, bro. I have a feeling he might be a moon man before long, and our moon men right now.
The moon men dropping loads.
I think they could be a pretty good contender.
Yeah,
They're just
so
not known about it yet.
Yeah, Kincaid was added. For those that haven't looked at the moon man list lately, Kincaid was added. That was the second to last guy added. Swift was added. So this is the current moon man list. We might add one more, and it wouldn't shock me if it was Dotson. So
Hey, Smitty.
Yeah. Yeah, can you hear me?
Can you rate my terrible puppy team so far?
Yeah, go ahead. Hold on. Collusion dropped another. Collusion said, can I do a prediction for next year? If so, I will send the money. Garrett Wilson and Olave 1 and 2. Yeah, I mean, you can do it. We can put it. I think Collusion, if you do one, if you're talking about the big board up here, I think basically if you were to say that walking out of this season, that will be the number 1 and number 2, or however you want to put it, I would just word it like walking into 2024, this is what you're going to feel or whatever, and then you can win this year's prediction, that way. But yeah, I mean, you could definitely, do that. Go ahead, rock out. Thank you for the super chat, by the way.
To the moon.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible, but I did like a Pennsylvania theme.
Thanks, Thomas.
Let's see, quarterback, Hurt, and then running back, Harris, Swift, Montgomery, Jamal Williams, timed out on him.
Okay, hold on.
A.J. Brown.
Hold on. Najee, Hurts. Who was the other running back? Swift?
Najee, Swift, Montgomery, Jamal Williams, timed out on him.
Okay.
And then wide receiver, A.J. Brown, Watson, George Pickens, Jameson Williams, and Rice. And then at tight end, Clement and Schultz.
So you have this group right here. You have Hurts, Najee, Swift, Monty, A.J. Brown, Christian Watson, Pickens, Jamison Williams, Komet in a nutshell. I like it. I think it's a good team, bro. I think it's a really, really good team. Young says, love the way Smitty adapts Swift as a moon man. I just love it. I appreciate you, Young. And, that's the way I operate, man. I'm always adjusting and adapting. That's the way you got to do it. You can't just dig your heels in on the old, way you think of something. Trades, different landing spots, new situations, injury. Like a player like for example, when we adjusted and adapted last year on Najee, or we adjusted and adapted on Swift during the year last year. Like there was a point where we had to, sell Swift if you can and get out because he was injured last year and he wasn't being used. I mean, you can say adjust and adapt on the same player. Adjusting and adapting on Javonte versus Breece Hall because Javante's got a tougher recovery. Like you got to always try and be honest with your own, take and not just dig your heels in. Like I could dig my heels in and say, oh, well, I was so high on Javonte last year. I got to go, hardcore on Javonte. Appreciate you, Russian. Where's Ron? Not sure right now. Sleeping maybe. Appreciate you with the super chat, Russian. I'm almost $600 on underdog so far. First time playing, I better start saving for the Moon Man High Roller card. Or the Mars Man. There will be a Moon Man and a Mars Man High Roller card that comes with a lot of perks on this channel. And there will be just 11 of these handed out. And then maybe there will be a Moon Man card where there will be 12 of those. And then that will be it. Appreciate you all. I'm out of here. Rock out. I'll see you tomorrow, pal. I like your team, by the way. It's a good squad. AJ Brown, Christian Watson, Pickens. I mean, Jameson, really good squad. I like it a lot.
And Rice.
And who? Rashid Rice?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Really good squad. All right, later. Appreciate you.
See ya.
All right, thank you, George from the Bay. Thank you, Russian Collusion. Thank you, everybody that dropped super chats tonight. You guys are always, it's never expected, always appreciated. Russian. Max, AA, dropping a super chat earlier. Russian, Sick Nasty, appreciate you all. You guys absolutely rock. Chris Olave to the moon.
A top 5 wide receiver hides among the people. His cost of entry is near illegal. Few see him coming. Many stay away. His name is Chris Olave. The tripod, likened to pyramids in ancient Egypt, consists of drafting either Joe Burrow or Jalen Hurts with one of Hall, Gibbs or Bijan, and one of Olave, Watson, Wilson, or Chase.
But the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs' workload divide has a megawatt offload that if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megabolt, things just end up happening. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back instead of top 6 to 10. See you all tomorrow. Appreciate you. Don't forget, we're live whenever news breaks. Later, Detest. Wish you guys the best. Have a good night, boys. Appreciate you, Detest, being in the building tonight. Peanut Butter and Waivers, appreciate you. Sick Nasty, appreciate you. Max, appreciate you. Maxie. George from the Bay, always a pleasure. Mark, appreciate you. Steven, we'll see you later, pal. Trey, we'll see you later, my guy. Olave to the moon. Adam, appreciate you. Deuces. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.